great afternoon for racing. Could this be the day, finally, that a Michigan-born racer in the Cup Series is able to win here at Michigan International Speedway? Keselowski and Jones, the two that could do it in this field. Let's go to pre-race ceremonies now.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Jackson County Office of the Sheriff Honor Guard Unit presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Jeff Rose from St. Francis de Sales High School offers today's invocation.
Almighty God, we thank you for another beautiful day here at Michigan International Speedway. As we begin today, we're mindful that on August 11th, 1991, we lost J.D. McDuffie at Watkins Glen, a great race car driver for NASCAR. We thank you that we come here freely, and we ask your blessing on our military and our first responders that protect our freedoms and keep us safe, and keep our drivers and teams safe as they compete for us today. We ask this all with great faith, hope, and love. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Michigan International Speedway's own Lisa Bascom.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
In the backyard of the manufacturers from Detroit, Michigan, it's the Michigan International Speedway. That race coming up next.
It was a beautiful day. The sun beat down. I had the radio on. I was driving. Trees flew by. Me and Del were singing. Little runaway. I was flying. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery. Going wherever it leads. Running down a dream. Whoa.
It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan, the Consumers Energy 400. Let's go down to pit road and Parker Kligerman.
Rick, Chase Elliott had one of the most dominant wins of his career last week at Watkins Glen. In his words, it was a perfect weekend, but now this weekend they've had speed in qualifying, but they're not sure about the speed that this race car has in race trim. Today we'll test if this race team can carry that momentum from Watkins Glen as we head towards playoff time, Kelly.
Michigan native Eric Jones has been on a heater, 4 straight top 4 finishes. But his crew chief Chris Gale told me he's tired of talking about this good run. He wants to be talking about wins. And if the pride of Byron, a small town here in Michigan, can do just that, Marty, he'll become the first from Michigan to win here.
Kelly, nobody's led more laps in a Michigan race in winning than Joey Logano did here in June. So they came with the same car, same setup and everything, but had no speed this weekend. So they changed to the 2-car setup. We'll see if it works for Logano to get him back-to-back wins here in the Irish Hills. Manufacturer bragging rights are on the line. Time to get the engines cranked.
It's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, Jackson County Teacher of the Year, Carmel McDonald.
Drivers, start your engines!
We got you. All right, crank when you're ready. Fire it.
Drivers are strapped in, gloves put on, and now they're ready for 200 laps of battle here at Michigan. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ally. Do it right. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
He just drove through me.
I'm gonna get my respect on the track.
I'm smoking. My nose is in hard.
I was trying to hear what he had to say, but his lips are quivering so bad and he can't even speak.
I understand he's ticked off, and I can't blame him for being ticked off.
I guess he's nervous or scared or both. I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Bush makes the move. He spins midway through the 90.
He just run me over. That's exactly what happened. So.
Problems for William Byron.
To the 18, get up.
Bubba Wallace and Kyle Busch beating and banging down the front stretch.
And if I see that 18 come back around here without you knocking the out of him, we're going to have a problem.
A big shot by Kyle. Bubba Wallace says, you're done.
I won't be like, oh, it's Kyle Busch. You know, he didn't mean to.
For a lot of drivers after Watkins Glen, tensions running very high. And again, just 4 races until the playoffs, so nerves on edge as well. Want to take a look at the starting grid brought to you by KFC. Up front, Brad Keselowski, the Michigan native, looking for his first win in his home state. Kevin Harvick, he dominated this race a year ago in his win. Back in row 2, William Byron, Alex Bowman, a pair of Hendrick Motorsports drivers, 21 and 26 respectively.
Behind them, Clint Bowyer has some work to do to make the playoffs. Chase Elliott, a big win last week. Row behind them, Ryan Blaney. He and Jimmie Johnson talked it out yesterday, and Joey Logano dominated this race here in the spring.
Paul Menard, you mentioned Jimmie Johnson back there in row 5. Suarez, Eric Almirola making up 6. Martin Truex Jr. will have to go to the rear of the field. They failed technical inspection twice, so he will start in the back of the field. Want to chat with Clint Bowyer. He has won at this racetrack. Let's see how he's doing as he rolls off pit road.
Hey, Clint, this guy's up in the NBC booth. You with us?
I got you, Jeff.
All right, man, you told me I couldn't ask you about the playoff bubble, so I'm going to ask you about restarts. I know in the spring you got into an incident on a restart. How nervous are you about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this inside lane struggles to get going. Important track position. Got to keep it. Got to maintain it right here. Stay up front. Very, very important to have that clean air. So, man, you just got to bottom weave. Obviously, you can have a plan of what you think is going to happen. You get down there, and one guy jukes instead of jives, and you got to make up for it. So, just have a game plan, but you got to be ready to change it. Audible, Omaha.
All right, so explain to the fans why the bottom lane, why it's so hard on the restart.
It's just that outside line carries so much more momentum. You get choked down. You know, if you're the front car like Kevin is up there, it seems like he could do okay. You know, second or third car in line as he checks a little bit, the next guy checks, you check, so on and so forth. So you're accordion on the bottom and they freight train you on the outside. So just got to try to, you can't put yourself in a vulnerable spot, get yourself taken out right here on the start, but you need to try to stay with the momentum. Wherever it's moving forward is where you got to be.
Clint, thank you for the insight, bud. Good luck. We'll be riding with you. Have a good day, man.
Junior, Stevie, who are we going to be riding with today?
Well, you see right here, Clint Bowyer with the Mobil 1 cam. We're on the roof of this car as well. We have a side panner mounted to the right side. Jimmie Johnson is got the Ally cam, helmet cam, man. That's going to give some great shots there.
Yeah, Eric Jones in the 20 has the Toyota onboard camera. He'll start back in the 16th position. Thought this car looked good in practice. He'll give us some good shots coming up through the field. In the 6 of Ryan Newman with the Coca-Cola onboard cam. Starts back in 20th.
We'll have a vantage point from quite a few different places in the starting lineup. Steve, give us the race breakdown for this one.
Well, Michigan can be a very difficult racetrack. High speeds through the corner, wide open. On new tires, clean air, these drivers will run wide open around this 2-mile oval. 200 laps make up 400 miles for the race. And as always, we'll have stages, stage 1 and stage 2, both 60 laps in length. That leaves a little bit longer final stage of 80 laps. Fuel window, which could be important as track position is, 46 to 48 laps.
And we want to get a few more updates before we go green. Let's start with Parker.
And Rick, a lot has been talked about Ryan Blaney and Jimmie Johnson's run-in at Watkins Glen and everything that happened after and how they had beers and settled that and agreed to disagree. But, you know, I wondered, how does that affect the race team? So I talked to his crew chief, Jeremy Bullins, and I said, does this seep in? Does it really distract you guys? He said, no. I had a discussion with Ryan and told him, we're not going to let this distract us because we're not even going to focus on it. We're not going to pay attention to it. And therefore, if we don't know what's happening there, it can't distract us. And that's what this race team is focused on, is their performance, Kelly.
Well, Parker, even with all that drama last week, Jimmie Johnson actually improved his playoff position. He is now in a dead heat with Ryan Newman for that 16th and final playoff spot, 12 points behind Clint Bowyer. And Jimmie told me pre-race that he is absolutely paying attention to where those other playoff bubble drivers are running on track and how they're collecting stage points, something this team must do. Every pass is a point. Today they feel like they might be down a little bit on speed, but like the handling of this 48 car. He starts 10th, Marty.
Kelly, we heard Dale Jr. mention Hendrick Motorsports has shown up with some speed this weekend, and among them, William Byron, the best qualified. He's in third. It's been an incredible 10-race stretch for the 2014. They have gained 75 points to the cut line. Now they're comfortably in the playoffs, but Chad Canals told me this morning the next step for this 2014 needs to happen, and it needs to happen soon. That next step, getting to victory lane, Rick.
Thank you, Marty. The 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Moving to the back now because of failing technical inspection. But you see on their 500th start for Martin Truex Jr., what a career it has been. He started off with DEI, got a win there, 153 starts with that organization. And then the move to Michael Waltrip Racing, also another win, 144 starts. Then the success really came on at Furniture Row Racing. Won the championship in 2017, 17 wins, and now a very short career already at Joe Gibbs Racing. Has shown 4 wins in just the 22 starts he's had this year. Let's listen in to a little of their radio.
Have a good day here, guys. Long day, we'll do what we always do, fight all the way till the end. You know, we can hopefully have a shot at winning this thing.
Sounds good, man. I know it'll be difficult. Be patient, manage your hunts, and we'll end up on the good side of it. Good luck.
And last time these guys went to the back was in Dover. Guess what happened, Rick? They won a race.
I'm guessing they won, yes.
So, you know, this team is so good, even going to the back in difficult conditions, you cannot count them out.
Well, I think Cole Pern he always has a plan, a strategy, no matter where they're starting, how he can get that car and driver up toward the front. That'll be the big task today. The last race here in June, it was dominated by Joey Logano. And he started up front. Now his teammate will start up on the pole, Brad Keselowski. I mentioned earlier, no driver that was born in Michigan has been able to win in the Cup Series at this racetrack. And there's 2 opportunities today in the field with Brad Keselowski and Eric Jones.
You heard Clint Bowyer talking about the importance of restarts and the start of the race. Well, it all starts right now. I think you're going to see a lot of aggressive moves trying to get track position right from the start of this race.
Clint also said juking and jiving. We're going to see a lot of that on the restarts. He wants to make sure he's doing the right thing. Brad Keselowski has chosen the outside on this start of the race. It'll be Kevin Harvick on the inside. We're racing in the Irish Hills of Michigan. And right away, Kevin Harvick tucks in behind the 2 of Brad Keselowski. William Byron in the 24 is going to stay on the bottom of the racetrack as they go through 1 and 2.
He found a hole, jumped up on the outside lane, and watch Clint Bowyer on that bottom lane. You heard him talking about what a disadvantage being on the bottom is. Clint started in 5th. Let's see where he ends up.
Falling back considerably. Saw Joey Logano dive to the bottom in that yellow 22.
Joey, an aggressive move to the bottom. Put himself in a situation, if he cannot find a place to go in the top lane, he's going to get hung out right here. It's a little bit of a hole in front of Menard, could not take it. I'm sorry, that's Blaney in the 12 car.
And you see how close they're running to the PJ1, that very dark area in the turns. It was put in turns 1 and turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4. As we see now, Chase Elliott trying to make sure that the 22 of Logano can't side draft him. But they were running a little bit higher late in practice. We see all the way up into the darker area there, that PJ1. We saw Chase Elliott get up there.
Yeah, Chase's car isn't driving very well. You saw the back of the car moving around a lot. I don't think he wanted to go up in that stuff. I think he got put there. Just his car would not, he could not turn the wheel.
See Denny Hamlin working to the inside of the 48. Here comes Logano again with a run as he tries to move in front of William Bowyer. Big run out of the 12. Ryan Blaney with that momentum, but can he complete the pass?
How about Logano? You heard Marty say that they threw the setup from the 2-car in there overnight. No laps on that whatsoever, and he is driving to the front.
Junior, you saw right away what it's like if you can't complete the pass. You got to get back up in line. Down the straightaways, these cars do such a good job of running single file that is the preferred lane down the straightaway. Fan out here in the corner, try to get some fresh air as you see Chase Elliott running right at the bottom of the racetrack behind his teammate, the 24 of William Byron, but then they line up down the straightaway.
Yeah, that's the frustration, I think, with this type of racing is you get amazing runs down the straightaway, but do you take that opportunity to go to the bottom? You risk not being able to complete the pass, losing multiple spots. Now there's a lot of room in between each of these guys right now, so you can be more aggressive, take these opportunities when you get these runs. 22 car, really impressive here. Moving up through the field. Marty.
And from 8th to 4th, Junior, very impressive what he's been able to do, and maybe more so impressive because of the fact that he's made a couple of moves to the bottom completely by himself, side drafted past people. But yes, they completely scrapped the setup. That one here just 9 weeks ago was the same car, same body build, same setup, and went with what their teammate Brad Keselowski had. It was such a thrash this morning, Steve. They were the last car through tech today, aside from the 19 who failed a couple of times. You know what those thrashes are like, so when you see positive results early in the race, got to make you feel good as a crew chief.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. It's instant success with your changes, and I think they're seeing that out of the 22.
How about this car right here, guys? A 19 of Martin Truex Jr. He started in the very back. He's driven this car already to 16th place in 5 laps. You can hear a lot of people talk about how they couldn't pass. Well, this car right here, he's finding a way to get it done.
Well, the issue, Jeff, is everybody's the same. You talk about same setup, same. Well, the pole speed, 0.6 of a second faster, Junior. So only 9 weeks ago, these teams have found over a half a second to run by themselves.
The other thing, too, that you see there is him running up in the traction compound. I think that if that is going to come into play, it's going to be for these guys that are further back in the field. As everybody's running in that bottom and middle groove in dirty air, lifting, getting out of the gas, getting tight, getting loose. If you jump to the outside all by yourself, in traction, wide open, more throttle, you're going to be able to pass these guys.
Tell you, Junior, there have been some wow moments as Martin Truex Jr. comes to the field trying to get another spot on his teammate Eric Jones. That would be for 14th. If he gets that, that would be plus 15 up through the field for Martin Truex Jr. Everybody in the garage area said the 19 yesterday was the best in traffic. But, Steve, there's a balance, right? Kevin Harvick's got all this speed up there and some good racing further back in the pack. But Truex, very good through traffic. That means they have a little more downforce in that 19 car.
Well, the whole concern is, and every crew chief I talked to said it, if they had good speed, they were concerned of the handling. If they handled real well, they were concerned about the speed. And only 8 laps into the run, I don't think we've really seen whose cars drive the best so far. Longer these cars run on the tires, you're going to see cars like the 18 of Kyle Busch up the racetrack. Here's the 20 trying to attack the 10 of Eric Almirola.
Yeah, the curious thing for me, I think, is the 19. It seems to be handling well, has great downforce, able to drive through traffic. But once he gets into the top 5, once he gets up to 4th, 3rd place, when it becomes more about speed being trimmed out, will his car be able to be fast enough with that downforce and drag to be able to get there and contend for the lead?
You saw right there, he drove underneath both of those cars, and then they lined up on the outside. This is where he's going to have to be out of clearing, right? You hear Jones, he's able to stay in the throttle a long time, so now that pinned the 19 on the bottom, but he was still able to get in behind Jones. So how good that 20 car handles is going to determine also what the 19 can do.
Big moves for the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. and a big move that Quinn Huff didn't want to have to do, but a great save here by the 27. Yeah, we stay green in Michigan. You can follow your favorite drivers all race long with NASCAR Drive. It's your live race day companion. Go to NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today. Up front, Brad Keselowski has led 13 laps since the drop of the green flag. And guy that's trying to make a move toward the front, but sitting back there in 19th is Kyle Busch, Parker.
Right, Rick, and he had some interesting comments on the radio. Take a listen to this.
No, you're tight right now, but just letting tight with the front, no grip with the back. I drive it off into the corner, and want to flip the rear. I get the rear to calm down. I give it front wheel. I lose the nose. I slide up, bust out.
So a couple things to dissect there, and Junior and Jeff, I'll let you guys get in the particulars there, but one thing Adam Stevens told me is this place has been very tough for them, especially in practice. Kyle just doesn't seem to have a great feel, a great feedback for them in practice, but he gives better feedback in the races. We got an issue with the 48.
48 is slow going down the backstretch. Definitely not what he was hoping for to start this race.
Yeah, you see the smoke inside the car. So he drove, this all started in the middle of 1 and 2. He tried to get on the outside of Clint Bowyer. He tried to roll around him on the outside. It got up high, and just the car would not turn, and he got in the wall. But that center of the corner speed that he was trying to carry to jump on the outside, that's what really got him in the wall.
He's got a problem here.
Looks like a flat tire on the 48.
You got to hope this thing doesn't do a ton of damage. The best thing they can hope for is if this debris gets on the racetrack and causes a caution.
Don't let it tear up the fender, though.
Yeah, he needs to slow it down, drop the pace. Fat tire starts to wrap around, unravel.
Oh, this is huge for this team. Look at the point situation.
Yeah, watch the points on the left side of your screen.
5 more.
Dropping with every position is a point.
You mentioned it. The hope was for a yellow, but I've seen nothing come off the right side of this 48. No tire, no debris, and as he's doing this, bringing it to pit road, you see the damage on the right side. It's heavy. The right rear quarter panel looks destroyed. Both fenders, front and back, pushed in. Marks all the way down the door, and as he comes to pit road, continuing to lose laps and positions, and more importantly, points, Kelly.
4 tires, 4 tires.
That's certainly not what Jimmie Johnson needed early in this race with that damage, but one of the things that rookie crew chief Cliff Daniels told me that he was happy with last week was the way that his team was able to respond and quickly make repairs to the 48 team to keep Jimmie on the lead lap and salvage what they could from last week's race at Watkins Glen. And you see they're going to clear out that left side of the car to make sure there's not a rub, the right side when they shove him back out. But he's losing a lot of time and a lot of valuable points.
That's why the tire carcass did come out on the track, because it was wrapped around the axle. Look at how many points he's lost already. 19 points for Jimmie Johnson.
And instantly, Rick, I have concern that maybe it's not just cosmetic. If that tire carcass goes in, there are brake lines, there are driveline issues. There's a lot of issues you can have underneath the 48. You see him working on that quarter panel. Sustained speeds over 180 miles an hour. So much pressure on that quarter panel. If that thing breaks loose, it'll instantly cut another tire.
Let's go back and see how this whole thing happened. So he was trying to jump on the outside of Clint Bowyer. Right here, he's trying to carry speed. Heard him messing with the throttle. Right here, he's got a big run, so he's wide open. Gets his right sides into that compound. You heard him lift. He knew he had lost the car. He lifted off the throttle, but it just would not turn for him. But all that happened right here. Him trying to carry so much speed, gets in that traction compound right there. Now he's along for a ride. So that compound, we talk about it, we call it traction compound. When it has not been activated and it doesn't have that traction, it's anything but traction compound. You can just flat out lose a race car.
We got the damage fixed up.
Now being 2 laps down to the leader, that's very difficult to overcome. He's going to have some timely yellows where the leaders have to pit so he can take perhaps the wave around. We back to some live racing here. The 88 of Alex Bowman under attack by the 12 of Blaney. And here comes Denny Hamlin in the picture, doing a nice job of carrying the momentum down the straightaways.
Yeah, Denny's came all the way back from his 14th starting position up to 6th, and he's been making great passes, has amazing speed in that car today. Kelly.
Yeah, you see Alex Bowman there now running fourth. His car is just a little bit too tight from the center and off the turns to do what he wants to do, and his spotter took note of that 11 of Denny Hamlin and how fast he's getting around the track.
Right now, but just letting you know the 11 is using maybe the last 100 yards of the PJ off of 4, just with his right sides right now. We'll keep you updated as it gets worked in. Just an update on that sticky. The 11's pretty fast right now. He's really the only car that's passing guys, so.
Right, so we see Ryan Blaney made his way around Bowman, and now he is under attack by Denny Hamlin.
So to help people understand, like, you know, we talk about the traction compound, they spray it on the track. Why is it not grippy right away? It takes some heat. It takes the cars using it for it to activate, for lack of a better word. While you know, we saw on social media this weekend, Kyle Larson, one of the first guys to go up there and practice, say, hey, I can say right now that it has less grip than the actual untreated surface. So it takes a while for the guys to use it before it actually primes up and improves that grip that they're looking for.
On board with Eric Jones, he's running in the 13th position now behind Eric Almirola.
I remember at Charlotte when we used the traction compound, and in practice, I hit the wall coming off turn 4. The car just took off. Brad Keselowski also hit the wall that day. All of us, that was a big wake-up call to us that stuff isn't instant.
Right.
When you go up in that traction compound and it hasn't been used, it's not immediate grip. It takes a while for it to come in, and it needs to be used quite a bit by either these lap cars. These guys are going around to run in it, activate it. Guys like Larson, some of the guys that get up there early in the runs.
You see right there the speed out of that 11 car just took the 4th place position from Ryan Blaney.
Two of the fastest cars on the track are the 4 of Kevin Harvick and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. .27 laps complete. Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan International Speedway. 48 of Jimmie Johnson had to come back to pit road. Right now being scored 3 laps down. Could go 4 laps down after all the work that has been done on that car. Time now for the Subway Fresh Take. Let's go to Parker Kligerman.
Well, Rick, I'm down in turn 1. You know, at Michigan, it's one of the fastest tracks we have in NASCAR, and this is where the cars go fastest, roughly 190 miles an hour, maybe a little faster in the draft as they go off their turn 1. This is a very cool view. It's an intense view. It's definitely the fastest I've seen these cars in all the times that I've done this when I go up to the fence. But one of the things I've noticed down on here as well. You talked about that traction compound having to activate. They're starting to creep up a little bit on the entry. I'm seeing cars start to go into it. That's just a process of making that stuff activate.
And so there's a reason for the yellow line, Parker. Don't go inside that yellow line, by the way. Very close.
Duly noted.
Yes, very close. Teammates here, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney nose to tail now.
You heard the spotter give some information about what Denny Hamlin was doing and how they said that Denny Hamlin was only one passing cars. Well, there's another one to add to that list. Martin Truex Jr. is all the way up to 7th. 31 laps. I mean, I'm sorry, 29 laps they've run. Started in dead last, and he's driven all the way up to 7th. And you can see just ahead of him is William Byron, and he's running him down quickly as well. Kelly?
His teammate Denny Hamlin's also been fast. The 11 car up 11 positions from the start of this race. When I talked to crew chief Chris Gabehart, he told me that their strength would be in the maneuverability of this 11 car, especially in traffic. And he felt like if they get some long green flag runs and if that sun stays out, they would just continue to get faster and faster. And right now, Denny Hamlin really happy with the car. He was happy with it in traffic, and now he says in clean air, it's really good. Marty?
Kelly, it's been a solid Sunday for Daniel Suarez, who just moved into the top 10 with that pass right there over his teammate Clint Bowyer. But it was a rough Saturday. They had a puncture in the left rear, and happy hour hit the wall. The team had to make repairs to the primary car and about 8 trips through the optical scanning station to make sure the car was exactly right. But Steve, I want to ask you, has the game now changed for the 41 team? The 48 with troubles here today, they all of a sudden have leapfrogged their way up to 17th in the championship standings. There you see it on the left side of your screen, just 13 points out of the playoffs. Would you play the game differently if you're Daniel Suarez and Billy Scott now?
I'm not sure if I'm the 41 I'm going to play it any differently. He's still 13 points out, but if I'm the 14 of Clint Bowyer, who's now 32 points above, even the 6 of Ryan Newman, who are 13 points above, I'm going to know that the 48 had issues, and at 3 laps down probably, or 4 laps down, probably eliminated from the race.
Steve, the one thing we do know is you see Suarez trying to get by Chase Elliott.
I got an issue on the 4. Flat right front tire, it looks like.
Kevin Harvick running second now, slow and headed toward pit road. Right front tire down.
Right front tire's here.
He's going to come to the attention of his crew, and giving up that second spot, Hamlin now moves up to second. Marty.
Oh, tough break for the 4 team of Kevin Harvick. We talked about all the raw speed that they had. Many believe they had the best raw speed in the entire field. Running second when he came down pit road, Kevin very abruptly said, I have a right front flat, and it was going down the backstretch. So very well timed for the 4 teams. They pit here at lap 32. Now you would want to make it to about lap 47 to be able to connect all your windows today. We'll see if this cycles all out for the 4 team, but on lap 33, that's way earlier than they would have liked to have pitted here.
It is earlier, Marty, but the pace has also fallen a little bit more than I expected. I'm not sure if it's the traffic or the heat of the day. So as we see Kevin Harvick rejoin the track here, Burton, the question for me is how fast is he going to run? If I'm a crew chief on pit road, I'm watching this 4 car. If he goes out there and puts up laps that are a half a second, 0.6 of a second faster than the other cars on the racetrack, I might have to adjust my strategy. Marty mentioned about how you could plan the entire race, and that's fine and all, but if this 4 is beating you on the track significantly, you might have to pit right away. Take a look at the leader here, Brad Keselowski out front. I was watching him in 3 and 4. He tried to run up in the traction compound. He's looking for speed. He just ran a 39.27, but he knows he's got the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, behind him running 38.80s. 4/10 faster than the leader. Denny Hamlin's been running a little bit higher. He's now moved down, but he was catching Brad, running that high line through that traction compound. Brad looking for speed out there as that 11 car is chasing him down. Well, you mentioned speed. There you go. The 9 of Chase Elliott. I think this is probably jumping on a different strategy. Came down, got right side tires for the 9 car. I didn't hear that they had any sort of issue. So Alan Gustafson playing a little bit of strategy game, getting his drivers fresh tires perhaps before he needs them, try to make up a little time on the racetrack.
Now 30 cars on the lead lap, and Kevin Harvick trying to stay on the lead lap, fighting to get back on the lead lap. Keselowski has been dominant, but Denny Hamlin has been the man on the move after Kevin Harvick had a right front tire go down. That put Hamlin up into second. We're on lap 40 of the Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan, the Consumers Energy 400, and there's a new leader. Just happened. The 11 of Denny Hamlin was able to get by Brad Keselowski. He's been dominant, and he does it this way.
Unreal how he had so much momentum through that corner. He is in the throttle in the corner. Watch this. We can watch this replay down the front straightaway and into turn 1. He goes by the 2-car Brad Keselowski. Brad's going to drop in, try to follow him through this corner, and watch how bad he gets beat through the corner. That 11 car is on the throttle a whole lot more than anyone else in the field.
Well, the other car that I would like to see line up next to the 11 is this 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Had to start at the back of the field because of inspection issues this morning. And this is for the 4th. Yes, the 4th place position on the racetrack. That is an impressive drive. Plus 25 positions in the first 40 laps of this race without a yellow. Doing it all under green. Marty.
Those Gibbs cars with the extra downforce, Steve, might have made the right call here at Michigan. So I'm sure every crew chief on pit road wants to know. There you see that white circle, Steve. You know that means a cut on the right front for Kevin Harvick. So it was not a tire that went down. It was a cut. But now we've seen Harvick and Chase Elliott come down pit road, put on tires, both right side tires. I'm wondering if those tires have made a difference and if that's going to bring other people to pit road, Steve. What do you think?
Well, it's helped those 2 cars. They've picked up a little bit of time. The problem is it hasn't helped them enough to run faster than Denny Hamlin, the leader, Joey Logano in 3rd. Those cars are so good, even on old tires, they're outrunning the 4 of Kevin Harvick on his newer tires.
Now Denny Hamlin pulling away from Brad Keselowski. 1.2 seconds the gap, closing in on green flag pit stops for everyone. We knew that, and as we say that, right now they're coming on to pit road. Parker?
And Ryan Blaney's been very loose on entry. He made that very clear at the beginning of the race. He then complained of being tight on exit. Just 2 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Brad Keselowski, his teammate, said his car started a little bit too free. He led the first 39 laps of the race, but then it got tight the longer he ran. They're going to go 4 fresh Goodyear tires here, Kelly, and a wedge adjustment.
And there's the 20 of Eric Jones. Eric said that he felt like that car was trying to take off on him in middle of 1 and 2. See, it's a 2-tire stop for the kid out of Byron, Michigan.
And this starts the flood of everyone coming onto pit road. Now the 22 of Joey Logano also on pit road. Marty.
Here they come down pit road. An impressive run so far for Logano. Much like his teammate, he said the car started a little bit free, got tighter the longer he ran. And you got to wonder, Steve, with these teams that are coming down here, they're going to go right sides on the 22 car. But if you went 4 tires on that first stop, might set you up for fuel only at the end of the stage, Parker.
Clint Bowyer was just in his stop. He did 2 right side tires, Sunoco fuel, been a little bit too loose on exit, Marty.
Daniel Suarez also coming down pit road, leaving pit road actually for those guys. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for him. We'll see where he cycles out as these green flag stops continue. The first stops of the day, lap 45 here at Michigan.
You see the 48 of Jimmie Johnson coming back to pit road. You know he doesn't need fuel, but he's 4 laps down to the field after hitting the wall. Kelly.
That's Eric Almirola making his pit stop. He said he started off just way too loose. It got better and ended up a little bit tight on that run. 2-tire stop, Marty.
Busch coming down pit road, and they're going to do an interesting call here. Keep an eye on this today. Left side tires only. Matt McCall making the call there. A lot of times that'll make your car loose. We'll see what happens to the 1, Kelly.
And now Denny Hamlin, who had led this race, is going to make his pit stop. As I said, he's been very happy with the handling of this car, both in traffic and once he was out in clean air. I just heard him call for a 4 Goodyear tire stop at Sunoco fuel, Marty.
And you saw William Byron flash right in front of Denny Hamlin. The call by Chad Knaus, Corvette. We'll see if that's right sides only. Indeed it is. Corvette means right sides for William Byron, who's having a solid run, Kelly.
And then the 6 car of Ryan Newman also on pit road. He's just been a little bit too loose on that first run. You see him make the chassis adjustment and 2 tires for Newman.
We saw the decisions of how many tires to come. The 11 of Denny Hamlin had such a good race car. I think the conservative call was 4 tires. That is going to eventually give up the lead to the 22 of Joey Logano. You see him pass him there on the racetrack. Remember, the 22, I believe, only took 2 right side tires, so the time on pit road was the difference between these 2 cars.
You see on the lower left of your screen, too fast entering for the 42 of Kyle Larson. He'll have to serve that penalty, speeding on pit road. Denny Hamlin was the race leader when all of the green flag pit stops started to cycle through. And now you see the 22 of Logano, who's already been on pit road, out in front of that 11. Martin Truex Jr. still has yet to come to pit road. He is being scored race leader now on pit road. Marty?
And here he comes down pit road. What an impressive day it's been for Truex. At this point, gaining 28 spots. The lead he comes to here on pit road. How about this call? Fuel only for Martin Truex Jr. Strategy is all over the map, Steve. Good luck figuring all this out.
Well, the whole question is, was it a quick enough stop? You see Martin Truex Jr. leave pit road up through the gears. Here comes the 22 of Joey Logano. Only 13 laps left in the stage. That's the call. Remember, playoff point to win this stage. You heard Jeff Burton talk about it at the start of the show. If you are going to make it to Miami, you need to start to fill the playoff bucket. Cole Pern, fuel only to try to get that playoff point. Joey Logano about a half a straightaway back. We'll see, though, are those two right side tires valuable enough for Joey Logano to run down the 19 of Truex?
Hey, Steve, one thing that I think is going to be surprising to teams is when Keselowski, when he pitted and put his tires on, he came out, he's running 38.50s. Before that, he was running 39.10. So over a half a second, 6/10 of a second, tires were worth. I don't think the crew chiefs thought tires would mean that much.
Joey Logano out in front now. Denny Hamlin chasing after him, and only 12 laps to go in this stage as we go NASCAR nonstop. Only 4 races remain in the NTT IndyCar Series season, and the battle for the Astor Cup is heating up. That race coverage from the Tricky Triangle Pocono next Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Newgarden still leading in the championship points race. He's got 4 wins already this year. Rossi 16 points back. Pagano, the Daytona 500 winner, 47 points back.
Well, you see right here, the 42 of Kyle Larson had that penalty, had to make an extra trip down pit road, and because of that, he is barely in front of the 19 of Martin Truex. You're fighting to save a lap. Well, that battle is slowing the 19 of Truex down. He's tried to pass him a couple times. Here's a replay. He pulls underneath the 42 of Larson, has to race him. Why this matters is because, remember, Cole Pern, fuel only, win the stage, get a playoff point. He didn't figure this traffic in, and the 11 of Denny Hamlin is gaining 3, 4, 5 tenths a lap. With 7 to go, I think we're going to see a battle. You see Denny Hamlin right there, 10 car lengths back. Junior, we're going to have a battle before this stage is over.
Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. being held up by that 42, but they're also catching lap traffic, creating more problems for Truex.
Yeah, we saw Denny Hamlin probably the most successful running high. Now he's down a little bit in the corner. This is in the middle of 1 and 2. Really in 3 and 4, it seems like is where Denny runs the highest. That white car in the middle of your screen, Marty, running pretty high on the racetrack.
And Clayton Hughes, the spotter for Martin Truex Jr., has been telling him where the 11 is running and how quickly he is catching him. He said, I can see it. I don't know what you want me to do. There's nothing I can do to hold him back there, Kelly.
Yeah, the team telling Denny Hamlin how many laps are left and then, quote, go be a warrior, you can get him. And he has made a lot of gains on his teammate Martin Truex Jr. They thought this was going to be a tough track to return to Michigan. They weren't really happy with how this 11 team ran here back in June, but they've obviously made some improvements. He looks to be the fastest car on track.
And why this matters so much is Cole Pern knows he's upside down on tires and fuel. This was a calculated gamble. As you see, Larson, 3 wide.
Larson will squeeze through, trying to get by that 38 of David Reagan. That gives momentum to the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Way up the racetrack goes Martin Truex Jr. Denny Hamlin takes the lead away.
Bubba Wallace in that 43 car, he lost his car, went way up the racetrack, ran that whole lane up. Now, Larson has to be worried about that 11 car, getting him a lap down.
Denny Hamlin running way down next to the yellow line, almost lower than anybody else, but that slowed his momentum down, and Bubba Wallace is trying to hang on, just stay on the outside of him.
Yeah, Bubba drove down on the turn 1 on the door of the 11 car. The 11 had to check up. Now here comes the 19 of Truex back into the lead.
19 of Truex takes it back. Here comes the 11 battling on the bottom of the racetrack again. Side by side as they come out of 4.
Truex has a lot of help lined up with him on that outside lane. A lot of drafting help. See what Denny Hamlin can do. He's going to try to hang a left really hard, get away from him quickly. Bubba can't sit back here. He's racing for the lucky dog right now. Wave around to get that lead lap back when this stage is over with. So he's got to push hard. That's why he had to race Denny the way he did.
So Denny tucks back in behind the 19 as Martin Truex Jr. will run a little bit higher through 3 and 4. That's what he's been doing the last few times. This time he dives to the bottom of the racetrack because of the slower car up front of Landon Castle in that 00.
Yeah, that looked like a tough spot for Denny Hamlin to catch that slower car. Hurt a little bit of momentum, still a little run down the straightaway. What is he going to do with the energy at the end of the straightaway?
You just got to go where Truex isn't. So if Truex goes to the bottom, he wants to go to the bottom, go to the top. Truex takes his line away, maybe anticipating what Denny would do there.
Clear by 2.5 here now.
And see how it hurt Denny. He lost a lot of ground there through that corner. It's a game of guessing. When you're Denny Hamlin, you're kind of guessing where the 19's going to go. And by the way, if you're Truex, you're guessing where the 11's going to go. You want to take that line away. And now it's pretty clear out in front of these guys. Lap traffic shouldn't be a challenge for the leader, Truex. So Denny's going to have to figure out how to do this really on his own.
And this is a little bit of a dress rehearsal for the finish of the race. What I mean, Truex on no tires, Denny Hamlin on 4. The other crew chiefs on pit road taking notes. Will tires win this stage? As you see, 2 Penske teammates on the right side of your screen racing for 3rd.
Hamlin's hung a left in the middle of the corner. Will he get to that quarter panel? He needs to get right there to pull the air off of him. Try to drag him back, didn't quite make it.
Fighting for that 1 playoff point and the win of the stage. Martin Truex Jr. has 2 car lengths as they enter turn 3. Hamlin running up high. Yeah, Truex Jr. down low. Will he have the momentum if they come off of turn 4? Hamlin fighting all the way down the front stretch. Not going to get there. Truex Jr. gets the win.
Stage winner, MTJ by George.
You heard it. MTJ, Martin Truex Jr. helping his crew chief out, Rick, using that strategy.
Yeah, teammates behind, finishing 3rd and 4th. Keselowski actually was able to get by Logano for that 3rd spot. It was Byron, Harvick, Blaney, Bowman, Elliott, and Almirola.
You see lap traffic out in front of the leaders. Truex the leader at this point. Denny Hamlin goes inside him. A big battle heads down the front stretch.
Yeah, the lap traffic got in the way of Truex. Gave Denny the opportunity to take the lead back, but that wasn't the end of it. Watch this 43 race this 11 down here into turn 1. Gets on his door. That takes the air off the 11. He has to check up a little bit, giving Truex the opportunity to take the lead back. Truex came back and took the lead. Remember, this charge came from dead last. Get his third stage win of the year, but this time all the way from the back of the pack.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Ace Hardware, the helpful place. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. Coming up this week, Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, Marty Snyder is going to join Pistol Pete Pistone and the Bagman. That's NBC Sports on Sirius XM, NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the morning drive. Anything but a morning drive here at Michigan, as we saw an incredible battle for the stage win. Denny Hamlin frustrated. He wasn't able to get by Martin Truex Jr., but Martin Truex Jr. gets the win. Steve?
Rick, if you're scratching your head, that's totally understandable. You see Truex, 0 tires in the last pit stop. Hamlin, Keselowski, both on 4 and a bunch on 2. I show that because everyone's coming down pit road, but it wouldn't shock me if people do different things here. The strategy will continue, Kelly.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, as you said, frustrated he didn't win that stage and a little bit annoyed with how Bubba Wallace raced him there in those closing laps. They spoke in code. We'll have to see what the tire call is. Denny Hamlin said the tires were a little bit squishy the first couple laps. That's it. It looks like it's going to be 2 right side tires for Denny Hamlin, Marty.
Kelly, amazing what these teams are willing to do for 1 playoff point. Martin Truex Jr. doing fuel only that first time. He's going to go 4 Goodyear tires this time. And he said, I got in a lucky spot in traffic. For Brad Keselowski, you see it right there. 2 tires, right side only for those guys. They gain 2 spots and win the race off pit road, Rick.
Yeah, we see that race off pit road brought to you by Kroger. That #1 spot helping out Keselowski.
I don't know if it matters, but obviously I said.
Incredible Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan International Speedway. The first stage, very entertaining, especially the way that one ended up. And Jeff, I don't think anybody would have guessed that Martin Truex Jr. could come from last to first in stage one.
Yeah, he and Denny Hamlin have extremely fast cars. And, you know, I'm interested to see on this restart who has a car on the short run. We saw Keselowski drive away from the field early in the race. Can he have that speed on this restart? But we've seen those two other cars are so fast right now.
Junior, Steve, what'd you guys see?
Well, Jeff mentioned restart. I want to see if anyone can have a successful restart from the bottom lane. In the first race, the bottom lane just got killed on all the restarts. It couldn't have any momentum. So will that be the same? No matter how good your strategy is, if you can't keep track position on the starts, it doesn't matter.
We haven't seen Denny Hamlin and Truex head-to-head on tires, but Denny Hamlin looks like Kyle Busch in an Xfinity race. This is a short race. If he gets the lead, it'll be hard to get him out of that lead. So those guys got to be able to try to take advantage of him on these restarts if they can.
Well, you talked about it, the restarts and trying to get position. Well, he'll have to restart on the bottom.
Parker.
And guess what, Steve? I'm talking to a lot of drivers. This corner down here, turn 3, is the most important corner on those restarts, because if you get a run down the backstretch and you're in the high lane, you got to not go with that temptation to dive low, because if you don't clear those cars and get back to that top lane, you're going to find yourself getting freight trained by cars around the outside. And I have to say, I stole this platform from a NASCAR official, and it's a pretty awesome view as we see these cars coming to the restart down here. I'm having a great time up here, and I'll probably get out of the way before they go green, though. I'm a little too close. Oh, our cameraman went down.
I think you pushed him, Parker.
You're a lot too
Saved
close
him.
now.
We got him back. We got him back. Jordy's all right. Don't worry. He's good now.
So all these guys that are on the inside line know that if they stay in that bottom groove and aren't aggressive on this restart, they're going to lose positions. It's a given. What they're going to have to do is in the middle of the corner, force their way into the middle, into that high lane if possible.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It looked like that could have been worse than it was. Yeah, he's all right.
Back out there.
So if you're in that inside line, row 3, 4, 5, 6, and on back, can you force your way into the middle, into that high line even?
All right, the field approaching the Geico restart zone. It's Keselowski and Hamlin in row 1.
Locked together well on that bottom groove, but do not accelerate as well as Keselowski did. But here they come. They've got a run formed. Back up to the back bumper of that 2 car. Brad goes down to block. Denny to the high side. That's what you got to do. Try to force your way into that middle. Take that outside line.
So look at this bottom line. Look who's leading this bottom line. Kyle Busch, we hadn't seen him all day. He was running back mid-pack. Now here he is on the inside of the 3 of Austin Dillon, who's also driven up from the back, having issues right now.
All right, would you call what Brad Keselowski just did there blocking?
Absolutely.
He just go up and block the 11?
He made a move to block the run the 11 had, absolutely. And that's okay. I think it's blocking as long as it's not real late, puts anybody in a bad situation. Blocking's part of this sport, part of this package, part of this rule package.
And if you're asking yourself, where's the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., he's back about 7 or 8 positions. Remember that gamble for no tires forced Cole Pearn to put 4 tires on it at the end of that stage. You see the track position he gave up, but he had 60 more laps to the end of this stage in a fast race car. You see Eric Jones with a big move to the bottom in that yellow and black 20.
Jones takes the spot away from William Byron. Byron will drop back a position into 5th as we ride along with Eric Jones, looking back at what's taking place there. Could be 3 wide here shortly. It is Kurt Busch in the 1 on the bottom, and here comes Martin Truex Jr. again.
Kurt's going to clear himself, get behind the 19. You see Kyle behind him. He's going to the bottom. There's a big gap between the 1 and the 24.
Wow, the 18 got real tight right there. The 1 crossed the nose of the 18 car, so the 8 is inadvertently, unwillingly in the wake of that 1 car and had to get out of the gas in the center.
We haven't talked a lot about him, but the 3 of Austin Dillon is also coming into the picture here. He had to start at the back, as did Daniel Hemrick. So those guys are looking impressive, making their way up toward the front. Marty.
And Rick, remember, they had speed. They had to start at the back of the field because they didn't have a functioning alternator during qualifying, but they've made their way up to the field. And Steve, I love what Danny Stockman has done calling this race. And the end of the stage there, under green, he took on left side tires. At the stage end here, he took on right side tires. So very aggressive race calling for Austin Dillon. Has him in the top 10 here at Michigan.
I like that aggression. If you just expect your car to drive to the front, I know we've seen Martin Truex Jr. do it, but he is the rare one, Jeff. He's not, all these other cars aren't going to have that raw speed.
Oh, see the 20 of Jones way up the racetrack, but a few laps ago, Saw Kyle Busch. He knew there was a hole right here. The one went down, kind of took the air away. Up the racetrack he goes, but he got by with it because there was such a big gap. Then Bubba Wallace, back here mid-pack, see how free his car was. Had to chase it up the racetrack. Lucky Stenhouse had enough room to go around him on the outside.
And now how long will it take the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. to catch back up?
Yeah, Truex is right there.
Yeah, running fourth.
Running fourth. So right here, Junior, we're going to see him turn to the inside of the 88. Impressive he could pull this move off. Well, that was a power move. Cleared him and slid right up in front of him.
Yeah, there's only a few cars in the field able to do that. 19 and the 11. Obviously, Brad Keselowski out front has great speed as well. What we saw is in that first stage how the 11 car was running him down by 2, 3, 4 tenths. Then he gets a little bit tight behind him, has to chase the car up the racetrack. Have to take another opportunity to try to build a run and create an opportunity to pass. Here comes Kurt Busch to the inside of the 20 of Eric Jones for position. What's going to happen down here in turn 3? Jones going to stay on that quarter panel. Kurt powers through the center of the corner on the bottom, easily clearing him.
We talked about that 11 car has not been able to pass Keselowski, but remember, the strength of that 11 and Denny Hamlin was on the long run. He didn't really show that speed early in the run. He showed it midway through. So let's see what happens. Let's see if that same thing happens on this run.
Here comes Truex getting part of this little battle here.
Yeah, he was fast all the time. He was fast when he dropped the green flag and when they ended that stage.
By big chunks. 4/10 of a second that last lap. He gained on both the 11 of Denny Hamlin and the 2 of Brad Keselowski. What is Martin Truex Jr. going to do right here? Just turn to the bottom. Is there any way he could continue to make the bottom work? Now they're going to come off this corner side by side. It's going to slow both down to the leader, Brad Keselowski.
But Martin Truex Jr. continues his march toward the front again.
That was smart, but Martin Truex Jr. didn't run tight on the 11. So therefore, they really didn't side draft and slow each other down. That was a smart move. Not to lose sight or lose reach of that 2 car out front. Side draft by the 19, trying to create a run down here into turn 3. Inching ahead for the lead. There he goes, actually for second place.
He's trying to take that second spot away from teammates Denny Hamlin. He looks as though he'll get it, but a big wiggle there in front of the 11.
Yeah. Even the fast guys are a little bit out of the racetrack. You have to be. If you have enough downforce on the car that it drives great and it's stuck to the racetrack, you are not going to be fast enough. Only 550 horsepower. You have to have the smallest parachute. A very slick race car to cut through the air with that little horsepower. Kelly.
All right, so as you guys said, Denny Hamlin's car really seems to come to life on the long green flag runs. They knew that coming in, so he's got to be a little bit patient until it really starts to come to life.
Don't get frustrated here. Stay focused. Only a matter of time. You know, I'm good. I'm trying to pull away here. Running line.
All right, so he said he was trying to pull away there. That was before his teammate Martin Truex Jr. got ahead of him to take over that second spot, Marty.
Kelly, I saw Cole Pern right after the end of that stage when Martin Truex Jr. won and got that playoff point. He walked by me and kind of went, whoo, glad that worked out with the fuel only in the middle of the stage. Truex clearly able to get through traffic. Can he get by Keselowski and get past him? Keselowski desperately wants to win this race, though. If he can, he would become the first ever Michigan-born driver to win at MIS. He said on this run, the car right now a 6 out of 10 loose, but not tightening up like it did on the first run. So, Junior, that's a handful when the car is that loose and you're out front like Keselowski is.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's got to remember, he's got all the air on the nose. When he gets in traffic, he's going to want to have that car turning. That's part of the product. If you're going to be out, if you're going to turn good, be able to get through traffic, leading, you will be a little bit on the free side. Look at that 19 trying to close in. And what a mix. We have a Ford leading, 2 Toyotas second and third, 2 Chevrolets fourth and fifth. Impressed by the speed of Kurt Busch in that one Monster Energy car.
Yeah, Kurt Busch, remember, he ran second here in the spring race, and he has run well here for a long time. Top 6 in the last 3 Michigan races. So
trying to get underneath this 88 here. Jeff, and they're side by side off the corner. Look, he'll stay away from him, not to side draft and bog down both cars. Marty.
And Junior Matt McCall has been on it with a strategy as well. Just like Danny Stockman went left sides in the middle of that stage, and then at the end of the stage, right side tires. And that's often what you want, Jeff. You just want your crew chief to give you a shot, get you up there, and give you a chance to have some track position. That's what they've done for Kurt Busch, and he's showing he's got a car that can back it up in fourth now.
The closest we've seen the 19 of Truex to the bumper of Brad Keselowski on corner entry. Truex climbs the hill, goes up into that traction compound, tries to get a run. I think he has it. Big momentum off turn 4.
Yeah, he creates that opportunity time and time again, running that high side. But can't get close enough and can't create enough of a run using the draft down the straightaway. You see Brad trying to break that draft. And Brad also is making it the shortest way around the racetrack, not only trying to break the draft, but just shortening up the distance.
And amazing how every driver, it seems like they're spending more time looking at the mirror than they are looking out the windshield.
Snaking down the back straightaway, circa 1980, trying to break the draft like you would at Daytona or Talladega. And look at the distance it creates. As this clock keeps ticking, I have to believe that Denny Hamlin is only going to get better and better.
So, Jeff, that's my question. In this type of racing, take me in the driver's seat. Does Denny Hamlin, if he works with the 19, instead of trying to pass him, do you think that's how you approach Brad Keselowski, or you do not think it would be an advantage?
I'll be honest with you. I just think if there's a spot, if you can take the spot, you have to take it. I think you just go and do the best thing you can, make your car go as fast as it can go. And if you can push the 19, great. But remember, anytime you can get in front of the 19, that means he's going to have to pass you back. So I just think if you can get by anybody, you take it. Take whatever spot you can as soon as you can get it.
Brad Keselowski's grandfather used to build Model Ts at the Ford factory just up the road from here. What a close call this was between Ty Dillon and Eric Almirola. Almirola having to move out of the way. .36 laps to go. The Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan, the Consumers Energy 400. And quite a bit of a shakeup all around the racetrack. Keselowski's still out front. We'll take a look at the Toyota driver updates. As you see now, Denny Hamlin is in front of Martin Truex Jr. They run second and third. Then it's Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, and Matt DiBenedetto back there in 20th.
So check this move out. You can see right here, the 19 gets underneath the 2, Keselowski. Now they're side by side drafting each other. Look at Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. What's he going to do? Steve just asked me, do you work with your teammate or not? I said you take the spot if you can get it. Denny Hamlin agreed with me. He saw the outside was open, jumped on the outside of Truex. Lap cars here. No room given whatsoever. Denny Hamlin took second.
There you see it live right now. Those two again battling for that second place. Looks like Truex is going to take it back from Denny down into turn 3. He's going to have to slide up.
Denny's going to drive back underneath him, see if he can get to that quarter panel.
I think he's going to push him, Jeff, down this front straightaway, try to get him back up there to that 2-car, Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I think they're right there. I think that surprised Hamlin a little bit. I think when Hamlin got in front of the 19, he believed he'd be able to keep that position. We heard the crew chief, the spotter tell him it's going to be okay. It's just a matter of time. You're going to get older tires. You're going to be faster than everybody. But Truex clearly is a little bit quicker.
So Keselowski has about 0.4 of a second. Now the gap is closed between the 19 and the 2. So Keselowski in front of Truex Jr. Then it's Hamlin back there. Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman are the top 5. There you see Kyle Busch. And maybe a little contact there, as Kyle Busch looked like he lost that 18 trying to get by.
He was trying his hardest not to lose the ability to side draft him down the front straightaway, and really got real close to getting into the 20 car there, not making contact.
See Austin Dillon trying to jump on the bottom of the racetrack, couldn't clear. But let's go back to this race for the lead. So if you're Truex Jr., you have to really think about how you're going to make this pass, right? You just saw if he get beside the 2 and you can't clear him, the 11's coming back at you, right? He cannot get caught beside him. So now there's a bigger gap, a much bigger gap to the 11. Now Truex probably doesn't have to be quite as calculative. As soon as he sees the hole, he can probably go for it.
And Jeff, I'm looking at the lap count. 32 laps to go in this stage. In just a couple laps, we'll be halfway through the stage. The reason I say that is, if I'm Cole Pern, how can I help Martin Truex Jr.? It looks like he's faster than Brad Keselowski. Could you possibly just come now, get gas only, and just end up on the racetrack in clean air, running faster lap times and end up trying to, jump in front of the 2 on purely a pit call?
And what about the 11, Steve? Like the 11, all of a sudden, he's not as good as he once was. So what about those guys? They obviously need to make a change, or they made a change that hasn't been working for them, because these 2 cars now have driven away from the 11. Look who's coming. That 1 car, Kurt.
Here comes Kurt Busch in the 1. Kelly.
Well, I can tell you guys quickly on the 11 of Denny Hamlin, the only thing they did on that last pit stop, which was a 2-tire stop, was put a little tape on the grill. And Denny just about a lap ago came across to say that he is now tight in the middle of the turns.
That makes the job even more difficult for a crew chief. We talk about strategy, no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires, and how jumbled up it is, but it also makes it very difficult to stay in front of adjustments on your car. It will drive different 2 lefts versus 2 rights versus 4 tires. So that's just one more variable in the equation as you see that 19 of Truex has run down Brad Keselowski again for the lead.
Gap is closed. It's under 0.2 of a second, separating 1 and 2 right now. Keselowski and Truex Jr. Here he goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Last time he tried this, when he got up beside him, he couldn't complete the pass.
I think he's there now. He's going to be able to side draft right there. He tries to side draft him. Brad's coming down the racetrack. Look at the 19s all the way, pretty much off the racetrack down the back straightaway. And he's going to have to do that. And he clears him into turn 3. He did not want the 2 to get back to his quarter panel to slow him down. Real aggressive.
If you were a camper on the backstretch, he was in your campsite. I mean, he was all the way down at the bottom.
And now it's Martin Truex Jr. up front. Keselowski running second. Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Bowman, the top 5.
And you have to fight hard. Keselowski has to fight hard. It's a short race, coming almost 100 laps to go, almost halfway. He has to fight back to try to get that lead back.
Now I wonder, you look at Brad Keselowski on a slide right there. He said he was too free back in traffic with his car tightened up, and instantly he was looking to pass the 19. Now he's on defense. Here comes the 11.
Look how much time he lost there. He was in the wake of the 19 off turn 2, had to get all the way out of the gas to keep the car from hitting the wall. Look at him bobbling right there with 11 disturbing his car, getting up to the back bumper of it.
Those 2 cars clearly not as good back in traffic as he is out in front of guys. You talked about that earlier, Steve, how the crew chiefs are having to make compromises on their race cars. Well, this 2 car, he's pretty good out front, but in trouble. Watch this. He's in that wake, loses the car, chases up the racetrack all the way out of the throttle.
And Jeff, you talk about compromises. Think about this. Denny Hamlin qualified 14th. Martin Truex Jr., while he started at the back, he qualified 15th. The 20 qualified 16th. These Toyotas came with a plan to race. They were patient through qualifying when they were getting outrun on speed. As you see Brad high again off the corner.
You see Keselowski still struggling with his car. Watch Eric Jones. We talk about struggling and compromising. He drives in the corner. Everything is good. All of a sudden, he's got a lot of work to do. Driver's working hard today.
Got the 4-car running just inside that group stuff behind us. He's on 4.
.25 laps to go in the second stage here at Michigan. That means it's time. Is your roster in trouble? Go to your garage, make a decision. I have to decide between that, what we just saw, the 24 of William Byron or the 12 of Blaney, currently in the 10th position. How about you, Dale Jr.? Who's in your garage? What are you thinking?
Yeah, Chase Elliott, William Byron, those two guys right there bouncing back and forth in between my garage and 5th on my roster.
Burton, how's your fantasy team?
Yeah, well, I had Jimmie Johnson in my starting 5. So.
So you've gone to the garage already.
Easy garage pick.
All right. Marty.
Hey guys, see Kevin Harvick on the racetrack right there, having a very solid run for him, recovering from that right front that went down earlier as we approach the next round of green flag hot stops. Harvick sitting in the 6th position. You know, a lot of teams brought a different car back from June. Not this 14. They brought the same car, same body build, same setup, had confidence in the speed. They're showing it today. Harvick trying to get 5th from Alex Bowman, Parker.
And Steve, you talked about the choice that Toyota's made in wanting to race better. Well, Kyle Busch there, that 18 car, started this race in 22nd. He's worked his way up to 7th place. His only comment really to Adam Stevens has been that he's in a 4-wheel slide in that 18 car. But Adam Stevens told me this is exactly what they do at Michigan. They don't qualify well, but they're here to race well. And that's what you're seeing out of these Toyotas, Kelly.
Before the break, we rode on board with Eric Jones in that 20 car. We can see that handling a little bit of an issue for Eric, but that's not all. Listen to what he told his team.
Oh man, like we have no speed. I don't know if I'm lifting too much or what, but I'm getting just run over. We're doing more lifting than some for sure. I mean, obviously it's that late exit lift that kills our speed.
All right, so Eric Jones right now running in the 9th position, talking about lifting and if he's doing it too much.
And Steve, we saw differing strategies to win stage 1, actually, with some taking no tires, some taking 2 tires. What do you expect here in this stage?
Well, Cole Pern in that 19 of Martin Truex Jr. was the big gambler. They took gas only and ended up winning that stage. But now they have track position. They have 4 tires. Do they need to gamble again? But how about someone like 4 of Kevin Harvick as he battles with Alex Bowman right here for the 5th position, where Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick gamble. They're 4.5 seconds behind the leader. A gas-only stop would give them enough time to be the leader. When you come to pit road and how many you take, I think it's time to gamble. That second stage is long enough. Try to win this second stage and get the point.
Take a look at some of this action right here. Side panner. Got to get up here and side draft this 22 car.
Outside, just get on it tight like the 18 did us.
Yeah.
Outside.
Man, the closer you get,
you
the better it works.
Outside.
You don't know what that other driver's going to do. Little twitch of the wheel and you're both together in the fence.
I don't suggest that going down the interstate.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That was side drafting followed by side drafting.
Side draft in 101.
Yes. And now Eric Jones once again trying to fight for that position with the 22. Marty?
A side drafting clinic by those two, and the 22 still trying to hang in there. Logano, for the most part, said he starts free and then goes too tight. Jeff, I want you to kind of talk about what the 22 went through, a completely new setup. Joey had 0 time on it coming into the race. How difficult is it, even though you know how your teammate tends to drive, by putting in Brad Keselowski's setup in the 22 for what Joey's done to run as well as they have today? Pretty impressive in my book.
Well, Joey Logano clearly has confidence in it because he is racing Erik Jones hard. See this continued side draft, and you just have to trust your teammates. You know the differences in driving styles. They've been teammates for a long time. Erik Jones now is clear Logano, but you know the differences. And if you're not making that change unless you believe it's the right thing to do.
So Erik Jones clears Joey Logano, and now you've got the 22 and the 12 nose to tail. Those teammates will be fighting for that position. Blaney behind Logano, but up front, Martin Truex Jr. now has Denny Hamlin within 2.5 car lengths.
Well, we heard the report by Kelly saying that the 11 needed to be patient. They knew they were good on the long run. Wait for that car to come in. He's done that, and now he's run the 19 down. As you see, the 18 of Kyle Busch gain a spot. Moving up the racetrack is Denny Hamlin trying to find a way around the 19.
Hey, you keep talking about these two leaders. How about Kurt Busch back there in third? He's been the fastest car for the last 3 or 4 laps.
And while these two will fight for the lead, that allows the one of Kurt Busch to close the gap, secretly creeping up there on these other two.
I think the 19 of Truex, I think he's watching his mirror, right? He's going where he thinks Hamlin wants to go, and that's been the middle top of the racetrack. This one, that's given him clean air. He's been able to run the line that he wants to run. He's been on the bottom of the racetrack, which is where he's wanted to be. I think that little bit of a block right here, battle for the lead. Almost got to him, didn't quite make it.
It's crazy how good that 11 car is on the long run here. He drove down in there, and he doesn't seem to be as bothered by the wake of the car in front of him as we see these other cars.
The only concern I have for Denny Hamlin, it's been a 43-lap run. I mean, that is as long as they come. And, Jeff, what do we always say? What's in every long run?
A short run.
A short run. And the 11 just loses so much time on that short run. I think he's going to have to make a few adjustments. Even if that final stage goes green, I'm not sure he'll have enough time. We talk about every point, every position matters on the bottom of your screen. The 12 of Blaney, the 42 of Larson. Larson doing a nice job recovering from that pit penalty earlier, battling just outside the top 10. Blaney in 10th. That's the last position that gets points at the end of the stage, but with 16 laps to go, everyone still has to come to pit road.
Comes a little run by the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
And he went into that top groove, but also Truex did as well, taking his line away. And Truex is getting information from his spotter. If he's not looking in the mirror, and where is that 11 running? What is he doing?
Again, set up again, Junior. That helps that one car. Look where the one car is right now. They're running to the top of the racetrack, blocking. You know what I mean? They're taking he's trying to take the air away from the 11. Look at the one car. He just drives to the bottom, Marty.
Kurt Busch has been flying. This is fantastic. 3 cars in the same frame trying to battle for the lead. 15 to go in the stage. And Steve, I think a lot of crew chiefs are thinking they'll go a few more laps here. Maybe to lap 110, 112, somewhere in that range. They'll come down pit road and take on 4 tires. But you're going to see these guys with a race on pit road, because remember the gamble the 19 made in stage 1. They went fuel only. Would you be up for doing that again to get one more playoff point?
Well, if you're going to gamble, you have to win the stage, because the call is to get 4 tires and then not pit again at the end of the stage. If you pit somewhere with 90 to go, you can make the rest of the race on 1 pit stop. So fuel only works if the gamble pays off. If you take fuel only and don't win the stage, that could be devastating for the final finish of the day.
And Steve, with these 3 guys so close together, it's also you have to, as a driver, do a great job getting on pit road. Your pit crew's got to do a great job, and it's going to be all out in front of everybody to see who does and who doesn't, Kelly.
Right, so you saw the 88 there of Alex Bowman making his 2-tire stop. Last time it was 2 left sides. This time they take 2 right sides. He said he was just losing the front end of that car as he ran and hitting the splitter a little bit as well over the bumps.
As you see the leader streak by right there. So I think the 88, I'm a little confused by right sides and 1 can of gas, because I don't think he can win the stage. And I think he's still going to have to pit again. I think he would have wanted to fill that car completely up. And now we have the 22 on pit road as well, Marty.
Yeah, and this is the team that has really played it for stage points this year, Steve. But they're going right now with 4 fresh Goodyear tires for Joey Logano, who said his car's a little bit too free there. You see him hit the pit stall and fuel. So they're playing for the end of the race here for that 22, kind of playing the strategy you were talking about. A lot of teams thinking they'll pit here, stay out at the end of the stage 2, Kelly.
All right, so there you see Denny Hamlin pitting from the second position. Remember, said he got just a little bit tight during that run. He also said he was picking up a little bit of a vibration on the right front tire. Those are the tires that have been on the longest. So you'll see them go to work. I don't know yet if it's going to be a two or four tire call for Denny Hamlin. And it looks like 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for the 11.
I like these calls by the 22 and the 11. 4 tires and, more importantly, a full tank of Sunoco fuel with 92 laps to go in the race. I know there's 12 laps to go in this stage, but 92 laps to go in the race. They now can all do it on one more stop. All right, now it's time. The 19 of Martin Truex Jr. has come down off the banking on pit road. It was fuel only in stage 1 to win. What is Cole Pearn going to do in stage 2, Marty?
I think he's going to play it a little more conservatively, Steve. I think everybody's reading from the same page of the book right now. Truex, no, fuel only. How about that? Cole Pearn, here's a team with wins in the bank. They're doing it once again. Meanwhile, Matt McCall, bottom of your screen, the crew chief for Kurt Busch. They're going to go with 4 tires here. They're playing that conservative route, Kelly.
That was Eric Jones finishing up his pit stop. He says he feels like he's using up the car too early on, and he was a little bit tight.
Cole Pearn has to be thinking, well, I did it to start the race. I started from the back and was able to work my way all the way up to the front. Maybe I can do it again to end this race. Also on pit road now, the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Here comes the 12 of Ryan Blaney, all making these green flag stops. Chase Elliott in the 9, also on pit road. Marty.
Yeah, a moment ago, Paul Wolf radioed to Brad Keselowski, said, hey, have you been trying something the last few laps or what? He said, yeah, I've been playing with the draft a little bit. Keselowski losing a little time towards the end of the run right there. You see that big wedge adjustment, trying to make the car a little bit better. Basically, too free that entire run. 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Kelly.
The 6 of Ryan Newman also coming to pit road. Remember, he was in a dead heat with Jimmie Johnson on the playoff cut line. He now sits 17 points above that cut line. He says the 6 car, though, just way too loose. 4 Goodyear tires for Ryan Newman.
I like all these cars that are taking 4 tires right here. The 19 has made the gamble. Gas only's going to pay off. He's going to perhaps win the stage unless somebody does something crazy. Let's see what Larson does in the 42, Kelly.
Yeah, and as you said, a good recovery for this team after that early pit road penalty. But Kyle Larson saying he just can't maneuver around like the other guys, Marty.
Been a solid day for William Byron. There you see him on the bottom of the screen. 4 tires, the call by Chad Canals. 2 free pretty much this entire run for Byron. It was a wedge adjustment trying to tighten him up.
8 laps to go in stage 2. And Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, they are up front, running some of the fastest laps as we go NASCAR nonstop. What a save by Brad Keselowski, although this could take him out of contention for winning here in Michigan.
Team drives into turn 3. See the sparks already coming out of the car. Right rear tires flat. Look at the save. He's got the wheel to the right, chase up the racetrack, now to the left. It's really great job of driving this car.
So the sparks are the track bar mount. Basically, the car sitting on the track bar mount. And that probably what helped him kind of save.
It saved the quarter panel for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Instead of falling down on the bodywork, the track bar mount was kind of like a crutch. It held it up, did a lot of sparking, but what a save by Brad. Because look at this, 180 miles an hour. We're going to slide it like it's no big deal, staying in the gas, driving it. You haven't seen the tires locked up yet. Now he gets on the brakes when it's backwards, back off the brakes, still driving it. Here's a view from Jimmie Johnson.
Caution. Caution, spinning in front of you on the bottom, on the bottom, on the bottom.
Tell you what Keselowski did that was so smart. So right here, right, he's in save mode. Now he's getting to the point where he's like, okay, I'm not going to hit the wall. So now the smart thing to do is just hang a left, spin the thing out, right? Just get it spun out. You're not going to hit anything. It's really the smart thing to do.
You wanted a caution.
Well, also, it's to save your car. You know you're off the track. You're out of the way. If you keep fighting it long enough, you can end up back in the middle of the racetrack with a flat right rear tire.
Takes it through the grass. And
over something. It was down right away, Paul.
They've been able to come to pit road, put a right rear on that. And just under 4 laps to go now to end stage 2. Marty?
I wish you could have heard Brad Keselowski right after that. He literally was out of breath. What an amazing job he did to save that from any contact at all. In fact, they were on pit road so short, Paul Wolf asked 4 or 5 times, is there a tire wrapped around anything? Is there anything we need to fix at all? They did check the side skirts, but no damage on the 2 car. Amazing job by him, and there you see him looking over the tires right now. Both the left rear and the right rear wound up being flat after that spin and save.
When we see these cautions right before the end of the stage is when we see strategies flip. Well, the 11 of Denny Hamlin has decided to come down pit road, bringing a few cars with him, Kelly.
And the call for the 11 car in code was, quote, potato salad. Denny once again describing his tires as squishy for the first couple of laps, and it looks like it's just a fuel-only stop for Denny Hamlin. Marty?
Same call for Kevin Harvick coming down pit road right here for that race team. They're going to go left side tires. Interesting call by Rodney Childers. Again, they just put on tires a moment ago for Kevin Harvick in that race team. We'll go check, make sure all the lug nuts were tight on that. But guys coming here and getting fuel here, Steve, certainly helps you connect your window to the end of the race to be able to make it on one.
Marty, I thought they were already in it. That tells me that maybe their fuel mileage isn't as good as they thought. We talk about it, we talk to these crew chiefs in practice, and they say, man, I just don't know how good our fuel mileage is going to be. How much are we going to be in the gas? How much are we going to be lifting? So it's something you have to learn as the race goes on. Obviously, Denny Hamlin thought he needed to come down, make sure he was safe on fuel. He doesn't need the stage points. With wins in the bank, he probably didn't think he could win the stage, but it'll be interesting to see how this all cycles out in 3 more laps at the end of the stage.
Through that race breakdown, Steve, you told us the fuel window between 46 and 48 laps, and we've seen quite a few of the teams come earlier than that. Well, next weekend, NASCAR will go prime time, racing under the lights in the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll definitely see some sparks there. The action will be intense and exciting at the world's fastest half mile, so make sure to cross it off your bucket list if you want to join. Go to NASCAR.com/tickets. Get your ticket to Bristol Motor Speedway.
So we talk about moments in the race. We saw the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. gamble in stage 1, take gas only, and have that great battle with Denny Hamlin. Ended up winning the stage, getting that playoff point. He didn't want to see a yellow, Jr. He had an 8-second lead on Kyle Busch, was feeling pretty good about it. But it's not just the 19. Look down there in 5th. Clint Bowyer, we've talked about Jimmie Johnson's day. He's 19 points out. As they sit, Clint Bowyer, 49 points in. We saw this go completely wrong for them at New Hampshire at the end of the stage. This could be a moment for Clint Bowyer to gain some very valuable points and maybe some breathing room on the bubble, Marty.
Hey, Steve, we saw the 4 team, Kevin Harvick, take left side tires only. To follow up on that, they did think they had left a lug nut loose on the left front. So that caution came out at a very good time for Kevin Harvick coming down pit road. They changed out those left side tires just to make sure everything was good.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a little one-lap shootout here, guys. And look at you just talked about Clint Bowyer, right? Well, look where he's lined up in the place he doesn't want to be on a one-lap shootout on the inside line. Can he make this work? Can he get stage points starting from there? He's going to have a lot of work to do. We've seen it work out this race. It hasn't been as bad on the bottom as it was in the spring race, so let's see if Clint Bowyer can get some stage points.
And Martin Truex Jr., he's the leader. He's chosen the outside lane, so that's going to hurt the bottom even more, doesn't it, Jeff? That outside should accelerate first.
Oh, yeah. You're going to see the leader picked outside, I think, all day long. Kyle Busch on that inside. He didn't want to see this caution. He was going to end up second. His brother is going to be on the outside of him.
And we'll see how the brothers play when the restart happens here, because Kurt Busch doesn't want to give an inch and allow that 18 to get up in that high line, which is the favorable line. So we'll see if he is able to stay right on the back bumper of the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. on this restart.
Yeah, Kurt wants to get right behind this 19 and push him. He wants to enter the corner side by side with his brother. That way he can beat him off the corner.
Outside line not locked together. You see the 20 pushing that 18 pretty well.
Erik Jones did a really good job of pushing.
He's going to push him right up here by that 19. If that 19 is not careful, Truex losing the lead down here in 1 and 2.
Up the racetrack goes the 18. Kyle Busch takes it away in this one-lap shootout for the Stage 2 win. Can he hang on to it now? Martin Truex Jr. with momentum right behind the 18. And here comes the 1, the 22 as well. Logano with momentum to the bottom of the track. Kyle Busch way up the racetrack as he exits turn 4. The gap closed, and they slide behind him. Austin Dillon has an issue.
We're going to have one.
The 10 of Eric Almirola hard into the wall as well. Daniel Hemrick had some contact there.
Not sure what happened there.
As Kyle Busch wins the stage, we saw the 3 of Austin Dillon sliding coming off of turn 4. Almirola into the wall. Drivers getting aggressive, trying to fight for every single position and point they can.
Heavy damage to the 10. Left front's a little tore up on that 8 car. Have to wonder if 10 comes up the racetrack. I think that the 8 hits the 10 right there, turns him into the 3, spins the 3 down the racetrack. So the 10 came up the racetrack thinking there's a little bit more room there. The 8 makes contact with the right rear quarter panel of the 10 car, turning him into his teammate, Austin Dillon. Sends him down in through the grass.
Both RCR cars involved in that wreck.
So a big win though for Kyle Busch getting stage 2. SBCSN is brought to you by Subway. Make it what you want. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. Just 44 minutes up the road is Butler Motor Speedway in Quincy, Michigan. It's a 3/8 mile dirt track, racing Saturday nights. Our weekly division, 410 sprint cars, UMP modified street stocks, and 4 cylinders. And a lot of work here. Let's listen into the 10 radio.
I felt like I gave him room, and I felt like he hooked me in the quarter panel.
So let's take a look at this as he's coming up off the corner. The 10 car starts coming up the racetrack. It's kind of early, not out on the straightaway, so the 8 car doesn't have to be against the wall. And I think they just both had a difference of opinion about where they needed to be. And they came together, and there was no way for the 10 or the 8 to stop what was happening at that point. Once you hook a guy in the right rear quarter panel, it kind of takes you both along for the ride.
And so at the end of stage 2, pit road is open, and Kyle Busch, who won stage 2, leads a few cars onto pit road. Parker.
Right, and one of those is Chase Elliott, who finished 6th in that stage. It really struggled with that 9 car throughout this race. This is going to be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. And then you saw there for Kyle Busch, just left side as they put those right sides on just a little bit ago, Marty.
Wasn't the stage when Martin Truex Jr. won it, but they have scored 19 stage points today. And remember, they're fighting for 3rd in the regular season championship as well. And to give you some insight, Cole Pearn also said, I think these 4 fresher tires will give us an advantage. We'll see if Truex can drive through the field for the 3rd time today, guys.
And again, no position change for Kyle Busch, but a lot of cars still stayed out on the racetrack.
Welcome back to Michigan, getting ready for the final stage. If you missed us in the pre-race show, well, you missed a man being shot out of a cannon. I can't say it any simpler than that. That's David the Bullet Smith. He's been a human cannonball for 22 years. That got the crowd ready. Coming up after the race, Dale, Kyle, and I will bring you post-race coverage. We'll talk hopefully with the winner, talk about the winner, and then victory lap from our NBC Sports studios. Go ahead and get your call in. Remember to call in and have your voice heard on victory lap. And yeah, Kyle and Dale sat here with me on the Peacock Pit Box a few hours ago talking about how track position would be like gold because every position matters. Those last two stages, those final laps, you saw it play out because again, every position matters as playoff spots are dwindling. So what will we look forward to in this final stage? We'll chew on this. In the last 9 races, the driver in 16th, that final playoff spot, it has changed every race for the last 9 races. You think you're not going to see the same kind of determination, possibly aggression in these closing laps of this stage, Rick?
Well, and Krista, the 9 races, you think about that, 9 different winners over the last 9 races. Could we have a 10th different winner? It's been pretty amazing over the last 9 races. We hope to see another fantastic finish here at Michigan. The final stage about to get underway.
Well, Rick, with 75 laps to go, everyone in the entire field will have to pit at least once for fuel. But you see new players at the front of the field, and that's because of all the decisions made at the end of Stage 2 and right before the end of Stage 2. Look all the way down in 16th. Stage 2 winner Kyle Busch. You see back behind him Truex Jr. in 19th. They gambled to stay out and try to win that stage versus Kurt Busch, Logano, Blaney, Byron. Remember, they all took 4 tires there. How about Hamlin on no tires? Well, he pitted just 3 laps before that and got 4 tires. So all these guys at the front, they kind of gave up the end of Stage 2 to position themselves for the last 75 laps. So we'll see which decision is right.
And we talked about how dominant the outside line is on restarts, but how do you beat that outside line? Look what the 20 car is doing to 18. He's pushing that 18. Where's Martin Truex Jr.'s help? They didn't get a good restart, didn't anticipate the restart. The 20 pushes the 18 by the 19 into the lead. That's how you make that bottom line work.
So is that just luck, or is that a teammate working with you?
You can hear that 20 car rolling up in the throttle, anticipating that green flag. Kurt Busch did not do as well of a job. Wasn't able to help Martin Truex Jr. maintain that lead. Marty.
Well, Junior, the Brave Strategy Award of the day goes to Cole Pearn. No doubt about that. Back-to-back fuel only. Is that a sign of how important the playoff point is, or a sign of how good you think your car is in traffic?
Yeah, I mean, a bit of both, right? You know, we kind of wanted to restart on 4 tires and so we could be aggressive on the restarts. And obviously that caution didn't work out, and then we made the call to stay for the stage and didn't win the stage, so epic fail there. But I don't know, we're a little bit buried now, and the car's been good though. Hopefully we can get back through there.
They may be buried, but I'll tell you what, Rick, that's been the fun thing to watch all afternoon long. This guy, Martin Truex Jr., he restarts 19th here. See if he can get back to the lead.
Yeah, that's almost 20 positions closer to the front than he was when he started the race.
And Junior was talking about that restart on the bottom, how the bottom wasn't good unless you get a guy like Erik Jones pushing. Remember, we talked about Clint Bowyer. He restarted 5th, right? He finished 9th. So we got 2 points, but had he restarted 4th, I bet you he would have probably gotten 5 or 6 points because that outside is just so much better. Even though there was such a good push back there in the 3rd, 4th row, being on the outside is without a doubt an advantage.
So now it'll be Kurt Busch and Joey Logano. They will make up row number 1 as the field approaches the Geico restart zone once again. Then Blaney, Byron, Menard, Larson, Hamlin, Buescher.
All right, see right here, neither line is locked in. A little help from the 42 to the 24. That might be what Kurt Busch needs. And inside line's forming up pretty well, though, as well.
Joey Logano trying to edge in front of Kurt Busch.
And bottom groove, at least on the front row, has been good these last few restarts.
So Logano up front as the freight train works its way down the backstretch and into 3. Logano, then Kurt Busch. Now here comes the 42. Teammates trying to work together here. The 42 of Kyle Larson coming on.
And behind them, Denny Hamlin in that 11 car. He got about 4 spots in turn 3. He drove to the bottom. This car stuck. Other people didn't. Great corner for Hamlin. Hamlin restart 11th, already in 7th.
Dives to the bottom of the track again. Hamlin working his way on the inside of that 37 of Chris Buescher.
Didn't quite clear him there. That's going to cost him down the back straightaway. He's not going to be able to get in the spot, have to get back in line, try to reform another run. Fortunately, that line in the outside had not formed. It gave him a spot to go. There was a hole for him to get into.
And get to Chris Buescher for fighting hard to maintain that spot.
Familiar sight at Michigan. In June, this is what it looked like. The 22 in front of the field. So Logano once again in June led 163 laps. That was a record at this race earlier this year. Now can he hold off the hard charging Kurt Busch, William Byron, Ryan Blaney? Again, you've got Byron and Blaney hungry to get to victory lane. Kyle Larson also back there. Chris Buescher. All drivers haven't won in 2019. Byron still looking for his first win, running in the 3rd position.
How about Chris Buescher in this car? They've been pretty good the last couple months. Been gaining a lot of points, working themselves up the point ladder.
And Trent Owens on that 37 did a nice job, gave his driver some track position, and Buescher doing a nice job of holding on to it as we see the 19 of Truex up to 13th, but it hasn't been simple. Look at it back here in traffic. You got Newman in the 6 in front of him, the 43 on the outside, and oh, a little contact with the 43 and the 19 on corner entry. Let's take a look on board with Eric Jones. I think this gets your attention right here as Jones takes a hard left and goes to the bottom of the racetrack.
What will that do to the handling and potentially maybe a tire rub on the right rear of the 19?
Yeah, if there's damage on that quarter panel, it should free the car up a little bit. We'll take a look. I don't see anything too severe. And seeing how he has run these 4 cars down in front of him, seems like the 19 still handling pretty well. He's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack here.
See Kyle Busch open that 41 of Suarez on the bottom, doesn't get a good run, and they can form this outside lane. Not going to try to make it 3 wide. I thought he would just take that 1 spot, but instead he's trying to get 2, and he did it.
Dives into 3 and takes 2 spots away. Now Suarez fighting back, but he moves up the racetrack. That means Paul Menard has to go even higher in the 21. Here comes the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. while they're jockeying for position.
That all happened as the 18 slid up. He created a really big wake of air, hurting all of those other cars. That allowed Truex to have 2 lanes on the bottom. Is he going to try to zoom out with the 53s in the wall?
Spencer Boyd in the wall. This was the first start for Spencer Boyd. Not the way he wanted to end it.
He hit the fence fairly.
Yeah, shortened the back of that car up considerably.
So Lucy was spun out when he came into the screen already. Big impact into that wall.
This is actually a big break for Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch. Remember, so much green flag racing to start this race. I know Truex did it. He went from the back to the front. But it's a lot harder in that final stage. I think people are less forgiving. He's going to be happy to see this yellow to bunch the field back up, although now it's all going to be where you restart, top or bottom, and how good of a start you get after you decide if you need to come to pit road.
Yeah, and I was watching Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. try to decide who had the position when the caution came out, because neither one of them want it.
Nobody wants ninth.
Nobody wants ninth.
That's funny.
Yeah, when the caution come out, they both said, "Hey, you got it, buddy."
Yeah, so this right here.
Place, I'll take 10th.
Here's that big move, the 2-for-1 move Jeff Burton talked about. And then watch this as the 18 comes up the racetrack. He kind of ruins the air for the 41 and the 21 as they all slide up. Here comes Truex to the inside of the 18. And then, as you said, Truex is like, no, I didn't pass you. You can have 9th. I'm going to take 10th. Let's listen into Truex. Oh, sir, Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we're going to have to get NASCAR's call on this. Even though we're not side-by-side arguing a position, we need to argue it.
Argue against it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be here.
This is the first time a driver's ever argued to be back 1 spot. Marty.
It's funny because Truex is saying the same thing, and he said the same exact thing Kyle Busch said. We're going to have to let NASCAR decide that. I think if it wasn't your teammate, you'd fight harder to be the 1 position back. Why do you want to be the 1 position back? That puts you on the outside, as you've mentioned on the restart, Steve, and that could be everything.
Well, they mentioned let NASCAR decide. It's very simple how NASCAR does it anytime during the race except for the finishing order. Is they just go back to the last loop that they cross. It's electronic. They know instantly up in the tower looking at the scoring screen.
They'll be determining the position of those 2 cars, few making their way to pit road. Only 65 laps to go in the race here. The Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan. The Consumers Energy 400. Let's take a look at the Ram trucks built to serve.
Track position versus tires. Are tires worth pitting and giving up spots for, or do you just want track position?
Well, and if you do come to pit road, traffic. It's like rush hour getting to work. Pick the right line, you get there on time. Pick the wrong line, you're in trouble.
And restarts, if you're on the inside, being aggressive, trying not to lose many spots. But if you're the leader, do you start choosing that inside line? We see our leader Logano taking the outside this restart.
Well, let's review some restarts. I'm confused. I thought it was going to be all on the outside. This is early, the initial start of the race. And look at Kurt Busch. He jumps right up. He wants nothing to do with that bottom lane. But then you mentioned it. Two teammates work together on the bottom, pushes Kyle Busch out to the lead and ends up winning the second stage. And I said, well, maybe they just got timed up. It worked perfectly for them. Clint Bowyer back in row 4 or 5. He starts on the bottom. You see him slide up. He's losing positions. These restarts are going to be crazy.
We've got one coming up as well. Now Joey Logano and Kurt Busch. Logano on the high side, Kurt Busch down low in row 1. There goes Logano. A good jump on this restart.
Yeah, big acceleration by the 22. He's going to come down and block that one. Even if they do get a run, he wants them to help him. The one car starting to form a run here with help from Byron. Byron's going to the right rear quarter panel, trying to get into the quarter panel, can't do it.
Kurt wasn't letting him do it. He just went up there and said, you're not going to get on the outside of it.
3 wide, Blaney through the center. Do they all know? Oh, man, that was tight.
Look at the 18 car with that run. They got 3 wide. That slowed that line down. 18 on the inside again, picking up 3 spots. Oh, up the racetrack.
We got a crash. They're going to make contact. Yes, behind them.
That's Bowyer.
14 of Bowyer into the wall, and they were 3 wide before the caution came out, and it got settled, thankfully, just in front of Bowyer.
Oh, and Bowyer was having, with Jimmie Johnson's problems, Bowyer was having the day he needed. Nothing great, but just a good finish would have given him a huge buffer to Jimmie Johnson, but now with major damage.
Let's see how it happened. Oh, he got hooked, it looked like, or just had a moment where overcorrected the car into the fence hard. I don't know if there was contact between him and
looked like Paul Menard.
Paul Menard, yeah.
And ahead of them, Kurt Busch. There we go. Oh, they all checked up.
Inside, 3 wide, you're up top.
Ooh, looked like he got a little contact maybe in the left rear quarter panel.
Yeah, it all started. You heard him out of the throttle, Junior. They all got checked up.
Paul Menard got it. Parker.
That was his question as well. Who hit me? And they told him Paul Menard. He just sounded dejected. They got a lot of work to do on this 14 car. They got to get that rear deck lid put back on. This is going to be very detrimental to the race, guys.
And as quickly as Clint Bowyer looked as though he had a big cushion on the 48 of Jimmie Johnson, he gets into the wall. A lot of damage for that team.
I can feel it in my bones.
Good evening, race fans. This is Bristol!
Tennessee, Tennessee. Oh, you really got the best of me. Tennessee, Tennessee. Oh, you really got the best of me. Tennessee, Tennessee. Oh, you really got the best of me.
World's fastest half mile. That's the next stop for the Monster Energy Cup Series. We can't wait. It's already been amazing racing up to this point in the season. And Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern under the lights at Bristol on NBCSN. It is, by the way, the 20th anniversary of the Dale Earnhardt Terry Labonte finish. Of course, we remember that quote. I didn't mean to wreck him. Just meant to rattle his cage.
Listen, and if they're beating and banging at all these other tracks, what is it going to be like at Bristol?
I think we're going to be doing some screaming.
It's going to be awesome.
Well, they continue to work on the 14. I would ask you, Steve, why? What are they going to gain here?
Well, I think at some point you're trying to work on getting it back onto the truck. I mean, they only have so much time. But look, you got to continue to fight. You never know. I mean, this was one accident. This next restart, we see 6 cars pile in and end their day. So you got to go out there and try to finish, finish as high as you can, try to finish as many laps. Let's listen in to what the 21 of Paul Menard had to say about the wreck.
Came across my nose there. Were we 4 wide? I didn't think so.
Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. There you got it, Paul Menard, and they were 4 wide right there. Yeah, I have to think that Clint came down just a little bit.
Looked like Paul was heading up as well. This would be a good shot right
Bottom
here.
3.
Paul was
Bottom 3.
also backing up,
Still
which tells me
bottom
he was
3.
having
Bottom
issues
3.
with his car.
Still bottom 3. Bottom 3. Checking up here. Keep coming. Bottom 3 still. Here, keep coming here. Check it.
Look at the 18. Making it 3 wide again, driving in on the bottom. But once again, Kyle Busch, we've seen this over and over with him up into traffic. Kyle Busch's car is not driving well. Continue to keep an eye on that. He got lucky to not get in a wreck right there. Marty.
Let's chat with Todd Gordon. Joey Logano's in the position he was in here in June. You're doing a lot better than you were when I saw you thrashing at noon, changing setup. So did you have any imagination it would be this good today?
Yeah, I think so. We're all right. We've got a little work to do yet. Just keep working at it. But kind of knew some things that we got off in practice. So wanted to re-baseline back to where we felt like we could be comfortable. Obviously, a 2-head speed. So just use a little bit of that to direct ourselves. And I think we're in a good spot.
All right, so let's talk about the next move for all the guys up front. How long would teams stay out, and how long are you willing to keep your driver out there?
Yeah, I think everybody's got to pit sometime from 145 to probably 175, depending on where they are on the fuel stop and where they stop there. But, you probably want to go as long as possible because there's very little fall off here, and then cycle back. So we'll see where it goes.
There you go. It's going to be fun to watch when these leaders do pit, Steve, and they do have one more stop coming as we're coming to a restart.
Yeah, it's going to be when you pit and how many tires you take. 60 laps to go here.
So the pace truck makes his way back onto pit road. Now it's Logano and Kurt Busch again on the front row.
We had a great acceleration by the 22 on the last restart, but it's going to depend on how that second row organizes the push.
12 of Blaney did a nice job of laying back just a little bit and getting a run to push that one car. Now the one car the shortest way around the corner. Can he clear the 22?
I think 22 staying on the quarter panel. Now they're side by side off of turn 2.
It's a drag race down the backstretch. The 22 with momentum on the outside, but the 1 hanging right in there. Here comes Kurt Busch again. They enter 1 or enter 3. The 1 trying to outduel the 22. He's going to have the advantage, though. The 22 with momentum as they come out of turn 4.
Side by side drafting Blaney, the teammate. What's he going to do? Is he going to help his teammate to 22? He is. I didn't know if he'd go 3 wide there for the lead.
I think he was scared to go 3 wide, not clear him and get stuck at the bottom.
He pushed the 22 out there. Now he's fighting for second. He's going to try to take it away from the 1. And he dives down. He doesn't want to give the draft to the 1. Ryan Blaney has made his way up into second.
And that Chris Buescher still in the battle. Doing a really good job today. Oh, Byron at 24 got way loose. Chased up the racetrack. In the 37 cleared him. Oh, not quite.
Yeah, they're side by side, trying not to side draft to slow each other down. Back behind them, side by side, Kevin Harvick and the 11 of Denny Hamlin, who was so dominant earlier in this race, trying to get back toward the front.
Buescher went up there into that inside line, and the 11 of Hamlin, he had to check up big time.
This might hurt the 4 cars. They line up on the outside. What will Kyle Busch do as he gets a run here? 4's going to try to fill this hole, I believe, behind the 9.
There goes the 11, Denny Hamlin looking to the inside of Buescher. He'll take the spot.
I talked to Trent Owens this morning about this 37. He said, you know what? We're trying something a little bit different, a little different aero setup. We're going to go a little bit slicker, a little less downforce, and a little less drag. See if we can help the top speed of this 37 and run with the leaders. Parker.
And Steve, I also spoke to him. You know, and the one thing with this package at the beginning of this year was about giving the smaller teams a better chance against the bigger teams. Well, JTG Daughtry and that 37 team have been a great example of that. They have not finished lower than 18th over the last 10 races. They've got the most top 20s in that organization's history in a single season. Much of it led by Chris Buescher. He's doing an excellent job, and this is a great run. He's been happy with that car since they've gotten the top 10. Wasn't happy at the beginning, but seems to feel like the cleaner air is helping him out.
And we're being told the 14 into the garage for the DVP.
So basically DVP, damaged vehicle policy. There's a limited amount of time you're allowed to work on your car without meeting minimum speed. They were actually good on time by the time the race went back under green, but they just couldn't get the minimum speed. Wasn't fast enough. There was no time left to come in and work on it, only 30 seconds. Can't even come down pit road. So the day will end for the 14 of Clint Bowyer.
And those points, again, when we were talking about who's going to make it into the playoffs, the 14 right now you see on the left side of your screen, 16 points ahead of the 48. So Jimmie Johnson 8 laps down to race leader Joey Logano, but maybe he could fight back and get a couple spots as now the 14 is off the track.
Well, I got the 6 of Ryan Newman. Now he's moved up into 15th place. Ryan Newman running 15th currently and 15th in points. So Ryan Newman having a quiet day is good enough today. Don't make a mistake. Take advantage of others.
And if I'm Scott Graves, though, I'm telling him, that's Ryan Newman's crew chief. I'm laying out the situation, buddy. We have 54 to go. We've worked 21 weeks to try to make the playoffs. We have a handful of races left, or 22 weeks. These guys have had trouble. We need to capitalize. Let's not be heroes. We can't have a wreck. We got to finish wherever this car should finish. We have to finish there.
Hey, Steve, remember when we sat down with Ryan Newman the other day? We asked him that exact question. Are you paying attention to your competition? He said, nope. I just go race my race. I'm going to race my race and do the best I can. But I have a feeling that that's not going to be the case right now. I agree with you. I think that information from his crew chief has to be taken into account today.
I would let him know what my race now looks like.
21 points above that cutoff line for Ryan Newman, as the 14 and 48 both have had issues there behind him. Logano out front as we go NASCAR nonstop from Michigan.
Oh, we got spin at 3.
You saw during NASCAR Nonstop the caution come out for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
See Stenhouse Jr. down the back straightaway, moves out of the way, knows he has a problem. Got really slow down the back straightaway as he goes around the corner. Tire eventually goes all the way down and round he goes.
Now with 50 laps to go, I think it's just outside of everyone's fuel window, but you have no choice. You have to come and gamble from here. Parker.
Right, and Ryan Blaney in second place. Last pit on lap 110. The call was club. It's fuel only for the 12 car of Ryan Blaney, as you can see there. Just a little tight on the exit.
This does put Parker, everybody just a little bit short, as Steve mentioned, from making it to the end. But you're right, you got to take that gamble here. They told Kurt Busch, come on down pit road. He said the car is tight. He told Matt McCall, quote, do your thing and keep up with the racetrack. Going to be right side Goodyear tires for Kurt Busch. For Joey Logano, right side tires as well. He said the balance was good out front, but he was a little bit worried about how over temperature they were with the car, Rick.
Top three coming off of pit road did not take tires. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Michigan International Speedway. It's been a gorgeous afternoon here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski. Here we see Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman, Steve, just came in and topped off coming to one to go.
I love it. I love that call. I mean, basically, everyone pitted with 50 laps to go. We talked at the start of the race about 46 to 48 laps was the window. You know, it's a gamble to come, but 26 cars came on pit road. It was the only gamble. Staying out was not going to work. Ryan Newman in this 6 car comes back down, gets 1 lap more worth of fuel. We already talked about they had to be a little conservative and make sure they finished where they could run in points. So we're going to see how it plays out, Marty.
And Paul Wolfe and Brad Keselowski had played it perfectly, but they did not get it full of fuel, so they cannot make it to the end. They know that with 49 to go, they're going to have to come back down pit road and get more fuel at some point.
The problem with that is even if a yellow comes out, I'm not sure anyone else is going to pit, so it may cost them track position. We're just going to have to see. But now another restart. Which lane will prevail?
Daniel Hemrick was hit with a penalty, improper tire change for the 8 team when he came down onto pit road. 2x2 once again as they're getting ready to come out of turn 4. It's Blaney and Keselowski, then Logano and Bowman.
So Blaney has picked the outside lane. And look who's behind him. He's got his teammate behind him. So let's see if that communication works well.
Teammates all around because he's got Brad Keselowski on the inside. What a start, though, by the 22. A big shove on Ryan Blaney. Now the 2 and the 22 will fight for that second spot. Logano with momentum on the outside. Can he pull away from the 2 and take second away? Here comes a big run behind him.
Watch this. Watch the 22 get this big run. He's going to turn left. Blaney blocks him. Now goes to the outside.
For the lead, here comes Logano on the outside with a lot of help from Paul Menard and Denny Hamlin.
Logano didn't clear him. Now they're going to be side by side. Going to side draft him right here. Look at Blaney hanging left trying to get away from him.
The side draft doesn't work. Blaney, Logano side by side through 1 and 2. And here comes the 11 again.
And Paul Menard's going to get behind Logano. This is going to help Logano down the back straightaway. Should clear Blaney easily here.
We keep talking about the playoff picture. What if Paul Menard was going to go to victory lane? He would instantly be in and move that cut line down. He could change everything.
Logano out front again, though. Now Blaney has fought back into second. Paul Menard third. And right behind him, the 2 of Brad Keselowski.
Penske's side looks tough right now, don't they?
Basically got the top 4 positions as the Wood brothers in their association with Penske.
Yeah, but look at that car up top. The 5th place car of Kevin Harvick. Going to use that momentum running the top. He looked so good in practice, both on lap times and in traffic. He's been cycled in and out of the front all day long. With 46 to go, now he has decent track position. How good is this 4?
Look how far up the racetrack the 4 of Kevin Harvick is.
Oh boy, remember what happened last week between the 43 and the 18? That looked like just a little racing incident right there. Little harm, no foul. 18 kept it straight.
Yeah, it is a racing incident, but when you had that issue one week and then the next week you just have a racing incident, it doesn't feel like just a racing incident.
Kevin Harvick using that top groove, creates a run on the 21, going to the inside, down the back straightaway with that momentum.
He was
side
up there.
draft. Yep, side draft here is going to carry him on by. Be able to take that position. He's going to run the bottom down here in 3 and 4. Ease back up the racetrack.
Junior, I think, you agree? I think Kevin Harvick is higher than we've seen anybody so far today. Marty?
And it was fuel only for Kevin Harvick on that last stop, guys. And this sort of reminds me of their June race. Tons of speed, but kind of rallying all day long. That's been the case for Kevin Harvick. Remember, they had that right front cut early in the race, and they had a left front lug nut that was loose. So they've had to come back through the field a couple of times. They've had this kind of speed all day long. They're showing it right now. Harvick in 4th.
We talk about Kyle Busch trying to get that track position back. We showed you how he lost it with the pit cycle. With this right here, this is what happens right in front of him. The 24 with a big save. The 18 of Kyle Busch, lucky enough he saw that, but look at the momentum he lost. He had to check up, he had no choice.
And now here comes the 19. We see Martin Truex Jr. looking to the inside of William Byron. Martin Truex Jr. easily clearing William Byron and takes over the 11th spot.
Battle for 4th place right here between, well, actually 5th place between Denny Hamlin. He's going to try to take that spot from Paul Menard down here in turn 3 and 4.
Paul doesn't seem to be able to carry enough speed getting into the corner. Everybody that gets under him is able to clear him by the time they get to the middle.
That 21 continues to be shuffled back. Menard back to 6th now after running up in the top 4. And Denny Hamlin on his march back toward the front.
Guys, we talked about this. They pitted outside the window. Normally at Michigan, always been a fuel mileage race. You can lift a little early, save a little gas. There's no more lifting early at Michigan. So Dale Jr., you've won here before. How does Joey Logano save gas when you look? He's wide open all the way around. I have no idea how I try to tell my driver to save gas.
Yeah, there's no chance. I mean, if you're wide open, you can't save gas.
The guy in second can.
Yeah, he can
right?
sit there.
The guy in second can pull a little bit of throttle out of it and use that wake in front of him. So it could be a major advantage to run second versus leading.
Right now, 4 Fords running 1 through 4th. Logano out front. NASCAR nonstop.
Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. We left you talking about fuel mileage and could these guys make it? Well, take a listen to the 12 car, Ryan Blaney running in second, his team radio.
Good right here. There's still for a few laps, and I'll watch it here. What about probably 80% or so? Or 5? Yeah, whatever you can do at maintain. This place says there's a good chance this goes green, so just do all you can here. We were about a gallon short.
So, Steve, a gallon, what does that mean? I know the team is watching his throttle trace on the SMT data and trying to see how much he's saving, but how far can they really go?
Well, look right here, 80% throttle. He is yet to be wide open. Part throttle, using that draft, he might get to a wide open throttle off the corner. No, still a little less. This is great. This is showing the fan how you save gas and how you use the draft. Ryan Blaney purposely running part throttle, saving gas. If you can do this for 10, 15, 20 laps, I believe that fuel is out there to save.
But a whole gallon, Steve?
Well, I feel better about less than a gallon, but I'm not going to argue. But how about this, Rick? Him and everyone else should be somewhat in the same boat. So I guarantee we showed you Joey Logano. Guess what? He was wide open. So I'm not sure if Blaney can save a gallon, but I'm confident Joey Logano is burning more than Ryan Blaney.
Steve, one thing I think it's important for everybody to remember that in today's world, the teams can see. The teams have data. So the teams can see how much every driver on the racetrack is, how much throttle they have. Not only can you see your data, you can see your competition's data. So you're able to try to understand if other teams are saving fuel as well as what your team is doing.
And again, you see the tracker there, or the telemetry, throttle wide open for the 22 of Joey Logano.
The battle's back in the pack. Eric Jones trying to work himself back to the front underneath Larson, chases it up the racetrack. Look at the wheel movement. I mean, these cars are not easy to drive.
Top going to be coming outside. 47's with you.
Showing how you had to get out of the throttle with Larson pulling the air off the spoiler and then slide in front of Bubba Wallace. You know, with this reduced power and added downforce, everybody thought these cars would be easy to drive, right? But as these teams have learned what makes the cars go fast, they have put the drivers in a situation where they lose the cars very, very quickly.
Well, Jeff, all this talk about fuel mileage. Remember that report from Marty who said the two didn't get their car full. They didn't think they could make it regardless. They were going to need another pit stop. So the only thing Brad can do right here is run hard. Don't let Blaney save any gas. Now it's important in my mind, if you're the 12 of Ryan Blaney, to know that information and decide, am I even racing the two or am I letting him go? If I don't think he can make it on gas, I shouldn't burn any fuel to race with him. The concern is, though, what if we got a bunch of yellows where the two thinks they can save enough, you don't want him in front of him, and you don't want to restart third. So right now, you don't want to give up and go from the even number to the inside.
And Parker caught up with Clint Bowyer, who's out of the race.
Clint Bowyer was involved in that wreck with Paul Menard. Clint, could you tell what happened there from your point of view?
No, somebody got in the back of me. When I went around, I just saw boom, and I thought it was him, but I guess, I don't know, the 21 or somebody. As soon as it happened, it was along for the ride. But I don't know, we got to get something figured out with these racetracks. You know, we can qualify. We're really fast by ourselves. We practice well, and we qualify really well in the top 5 almost every single time, and then start the race, and we just don't make the grip that we need to compete. I don't know. I definitely got to find some things out. I mean, you know, you're sitting here talking about bubble and worrying about points and everything else. Way more worried about, you know, getting established, running well up front, you know, on these type of racetracks. I mean, that's more important than anything. If you make the chase and you can't compete in it, what's the use? We got some things to work out, but we got some time, got some good racetracks for us. Bristol coming up, you know, still plenty of racing. We just got to get some things figured out.
And obviously dejected Clint Bowyer.
3 more opportunities for Clint Bowyer if he wants to make the playoffs. Right now, 13 points in front of the 41, actually, who has moved up to the 17th position.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, Suarez was like 40 points out, and now he's worked himself. If the race ended right now, he's only 13 out. So Daniel Suarez is climbing himself back into contention.
You got a great battle here developing for second place as the 4 car has closed in on Brad Keselowski. I believe that helps Brad create more runs, create more momentum to get up to that 12 car and put the pressure on Blaney.
and that traction compound. We've seen Kevin Harvick now venture all the way to the top. Now it's Brad Keselowski off into that dark area of the racetrack looking for that extra grip.
Little wiggle, though, and that allows the 4 of Kevin Harvick to get by. So now Kevin Harvick will try to reel in the 12 of Ryan Blaney and then set his sights on Logano as we go NASCAR nonstop. Ryan Blaney has now fallen back to the 5th position. He was up in 2nd. Harvick, Keselowski, and now Hamlin have all gone by. Let's listen into his radio.
Keep saving, or he's going to pass. What's the deal? So the one behind you is so short, I don't think he thinks he can make it. So we need to keep saving here.
That's Jeremy Bolins answering the question. We need to keep saving. Well, remember, on all these pit stops, this is gas only. Look at that vent line right there. No fuel, no fuel. You want to see fuel in there for a good second. You see as the car pulls off just a few bubbles, that car is not full. You see the gas man's frustration, shaking his head. It's not full. He knows you have to see that fuel in that vent line a little longer. Now, Jeremy Bolins has that information, and there's no reason to explain that to Ryan Blaney right now. All he has to do is get the best finish he can, manage the situation. And unfortunately for the 12, you just got to save gas.
Well, we want to go through the field, and Marty, you're going to be a little busy here. You've got the top 3, starting with Logano.
That's all right, Rick. We'll chat about Joey Logano. The leader right now has led 47 laps to this point, and Todd Gordon told me coming into the day, we're still racing for points. They've achieved that. They passed Kyle Busch for the regular season points lead as of right now. Now, in terms of fuel, they got enough in to make it to the end, but because they're leading, they're using more, so Todd's a little worried they'll have enough to make it to the end. Meanwhile, the 4 of Kevin Harvick right behind him, Rodney Childers, says they are good to go to the end on fuel. No concerns in the 4 camp, but for Brad Keselowski sitting in 3rd, we've talked about it. They did not get it full on the last run. Just checked in with Paul Wolf a moment ago. He said we are at least 10 laps short. No way Brad Keselowski can save that much, Kelly.
Well, Denny Hamlin comes in here off 4 straight top 5 finishes, including that win a couple weeks ago at Pocono. And his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, told me the key to that is they're having fun. He said, we look forward to the challenge each and every week. So top 5s just means we're executing where we should be. Remember, they had a 2-tire stop, so they should be good on fuel, Parker.
Behind him, the much publicized situation for Ryan Blaney and the fuel situation. The team coming back on the radio trying to tell him that they're in a good position, trying to convince him that cars in front of him still have to pit. But he came on the radio and said, I feel like we've thrown this one away, which this team has done a couple times this year and feels like they're so close to winning a race. Behind him, Chase Elliott in the 9-car moving forward through the field well right now, up into 6th. He's in fuel save mode as well. The team has been watching his throttle trace and telling him you're not saving enough. You need to save more, Marty.
Kurt Busch is in the 7th position right now. He has begged the team, tell me how much you need me to save. They've told him we are 2 laps short. Going to be tough to save that much for Kurt Busch. He said, do you need me to save early in the run? They told him yes, so he's been saving as much as he can, Parker.
Behind him, this is a good run for Paul Menard, but he's starting to fall back because the team has been telling him, please save more fuel. They said follow the 9 and save like he has, but he continues to fall back, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. had the dominant car early in this race, coming through traffic. He was the show here at Michigan, but right now the car way too tight for Truex. Fuel-wise, though, Cole Pearn has told him we are good to the end. So interesting to see if Truex feels like he needs to save maybe a little bit, Kelly, but they say they're good.
Kyle Larson back inside the top 10. 3 of his 5 Cup wins have come right here at Michigan, but his crew chief Chad Johnson said that means nothing, not just because these cars are so different than the ones he won with, but he said his attitude is he doesn't get too high or too low on anything. Even if he had 6 wins, it'd be the same. Rick?
So that's great through the field, as we've heard a lot of people worried about fuel, worried about getting to the finish. One person that's not worried about it, Keselowski, they're 10 laps short, so they don't even have to think about fuel. They just need to hope for a caution.
Huge cat and mouse game going on up front for the lead. See Joey Logano on the bottom right there. Kevin Harvick got a big run. That really helped Harvick. Got a ton of clean air. Got a ton of just amazing straightaway speed. The next lap, Logano said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take away your lane. And look what it did to Harvick, how much ground he lost. So right now, Kevin Harvick's having to guess where Logano is going to go. You already know that Logano can take his air away. Which line do you need to take?
Here he comes. Yeah, he's fast either way. I mean, if Logano goes high, the 4-car's fast on the bottom. And here he goes to the inside.
This is for the lead. Harvick trying to take it away from Logano.
Oh, he's right on that quarter panel. He's trying to side draft here down the front straightaway. Good job there, right on corner exit.
A good time to try that move because the two of Keselowski is far enough behind him where he can't try to take advantage of this.
Side drafting again. Harvick diving low one more time.
I think he cleared him.
And Logano didn't even try to get down the racetrack or try to get back to the quarter panel or running tight or anything.
So much corner entry speed for that 4-car. He just was able to drive in the corner deeper, turn left, and just clear the 22 pretty easily. Now, Steve, what information are you giving Kevin Harvick? I know they've said they've got enough fuel, but are you now with the lead? Can you now give information to your driver? Hey, man, try to save us some fuel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Find a manageable distance, whether that's 2 car lengths, 3 or 4. As you see the 22 close back in on the rear bumper of the 4. I'm not sure if he's better than the 4 or if Kevin Harvick is driving out of the mirror. You see he's out of the throttle right here. Is that handling? Let's watch it down the straightaway. Looks like he's going to run wide open, get a little toe off the lap car, the 51 right here. He'll move underneath Cody Ware. He likes this. He likes where the 22 is going to catch a 51. It might hold him up a little bit. Nope, the 22 goes by clean.
Harvick's lifting in a corner for handling reasons. He's not lifting in the corner for saving fuel. He's got to come off that throttle to get the car to point the way he wants it to point. If he's going to save fuel, I think he's maybe drive away from the 22 a little bit, and then you'd see him off the throttle on the straight.
Well, the most important thing is that white car behind Joey Logano. That's the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Make sure, if you're riding Childers, make sure Kevin Harvick knows we are not racing him. He is 10 laps short. Make sure he knows in the mirror which car he has to be worried about.
Yeah, with 15 laps to go, Brad's not got many laps out here on this racetrack before he has to come to pit road to get fuel. Watching that fuel gauge, trying to stretch it as far as he can, hoping for a yellow. It'll save this race for Brad.
The 2 best at Michigan over the last 2 races, running 1 and 2. It was Joey Logano earlier this year, Kevin Harvick last year in this race. The last 2 winners here at the track now running again, 1 and 2. Harvick working his way by some of the slower traffic.
And I think that's really his concern, Rick, right? Pick and choose your moments. Look at this, 37 starts here at Michigan, 2 wins, a remarkable 18 top 10s. That average finish just outside the top 10. Can you believe 7 runner-ups? So as I mentioned, traffic, Junior, don't you think, and that's the big thing, is you just can't make a mistake and lose your momentum. Traffic seems to be getting out of his way, but kind of plan ahead, and now he has almost the entire front straightaway. That is a beautiful sight out the windshield if you're the leader.
And he's already put a second and 2/10 on the 22 of Joey Logano, driving away with ease and confidence in the fact that they had the fuel mileage to make it to the end.
Remember Steve at Pocono? Late in that race, everybody was talking about not having enough fuel, but this 4-car said, hey, no problem, we got it. So how is this 4-car able to get better fuel mileage than the other 4s?
Well, yeah, you mentioned that, and we talked about that during the break. I mean, he was with confidence. So let's just take a look and see what he's doing. Hard throttle. I would think he could run wide open, maybe in the corner. Maybe he thinks he can let it breathe, not lose any time. Wide open down the straightaways. Listen, Kevin.
Maybe 2 laps to the good, but pulling away pretty.
2 laps to the good. That's a lot different than 1 gallon short, whatever. And you got to remember, this is a Ford engine, just like those Penske cars. Roush Yates engines, you would think they're very consistent, but setups, drag, driver inputs, crew chief adjustments. It's just not the fuel mixture in the engine. It's how much fuel you're burning to go down the straightaway. Are you pulling a Mack truck or are you driving a little small car? That's the difference between the 4 and some of these other cars.
Let's listen into Brad Keselowski's communications.
There you go. If you want to put 2 races on, I might be able to make something of it. I don't know. If you're going to put tires on, I got to come now, so I have time to do something with it. If not.
And so he does come to pit road. And so Brad Keselowski, who is running in the 3rd position, will now start falling down the list. Marty.
And Rick, they did debate those 2 right side tires for Keselowski, but Paul Wolf opting fuel only here. Remember they had a fueling issue last week at Watkins Glen. I'm sure something that they'll look at when they get back to the shop in Mooresville, North Carolina this week. Fuel only for Keselowski, who to this point has led the most laps. Still, no Michigan-born winner has ever won at MIS, although Brad looked like he might be the guy today.
Well, we knew Brad was remarkably short, but I don't think he's the only one, right, Jeff? I mean, we have a lot of cars out here that have been saving fuel, and I go back to Ryan Newman. He's all the way back in 18th, but he came that extra lap, got a little fuel in the car, currently 14 points above the cut line. Could he grab another 5, 6, 7 points in the last 2 laps of this race?
Are you on the roof cam? Coca-Cola cam on the roof of the 6 car for Ryan Newman? Yeah, your hope is that a lot of these guys can't make it to the end, and he can get 5, 6, 7, 8 more points out of the day, continue to build some comfort for himself on that bubble.
Look how much Ryan Newman's moving around. We talk about this racetrack being a smooth racetrack, but way out of the throttle right there. You talk about the racetrack being smooth, but the teams are like, okay, track's smooth, so we're gonna use that to our advantage. Ryan Newman, look at him bouncing around inside the car. They build very aggressive shock setups, rear spring setups to get the car out of the air.
Consistently on the throttle there, actually takes his left hand off of the steering wheel as he's going down the straightaway. Kevin Harvick out front, and Steve, we heard from Rodney Childers making the comment that may have made a mistake in the setup of the car the last race here. Thought they had probably one of the best cars, if not the best car here, but because of the way they had to pit, change tires, that is where Rodney Childers thought he may have lost the race. Now it looks like he's comfortable sitting on top of the pit box.
We talk a lot about sometimes it's not as clear to the public what a crew chief thinks about their race. I had that conversation with Rodney. He said, man, the 22 is so good. He goes, not so fast. We think we had a car that could have won that race. We were wearing out left front tires. We had to keep taking 4 tires. It just continued to put us behind. He had this this quiet confidence that perhaps I didn't see as we see Martin Truex Jr. taking 5th from Chase Elliott. And he's proving us right. Kevin Harvick, Rodney Childers, a dynamic combination. It was a slow start to 2019, but they won at New Hampshire, and now they're carrying that momentum just a few weeks later.
Yeah, the battle at New Hampshire was epic, and now he's got 1.6 seconds on second place Joey Logano, hoping that he doesn't have to battle as hard as he did at New Hampshire earlier this year. Kelly.
And then Denny Hamlin now running 3rd after Brad Keselowski came to pit road, which had Denny Hamlin wondering about his own fuel situation.
Sure we can make it, right? Well, I mean, sure is a big, big word, but I think we are good. Be ready with your switch. It's going to be close. I think we're good. I think they're in worse shape than we are.
And then Denny asked if he should be saving fuel at all. They told him, no, 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 go, go, go. So he'll be able to push as hard as he can for these last 6 laps.
Well, Denny Hamlin was pushing and is pushing as hard as he can. Look right here off the corner. He almost made contact, had to get way out of the throttle as he caught these two cars, completely lost his car.
And they talk about a switch now. Steve, what are they talking about a switch in the fuel cell?
So basically what they do is these fuel cells have two different pickups. One is basically designed to run out of fuel a little bit before the actual tank is. That way you get about 1 lap's notice. The car stumbles, you flip the switch, it goes to the second pickup, you can run 1 more lap. Now it would be important for the crew chief, once you see the white flag, to go ahead and hit the switch, because you're not coming to pit road anyway. You don't want to stumble on the racetrack. Marty.
And you were talking about that quiet confidence Rodney Childers had in this 4-car this weekend. You guys mentioned they had a left front camber issue here in June, kept cording that left front tire, meaning they were wearing it out way too fast. Kept having to come back through the field. They still drove their way up to second. In fact, Rodney Childers had so much confidence. And we talked about everybody bringing brand new cars this weekend versus June. They brought the same exact car, same body build, same exact setup, minus the change in the left front camber. And it is fast. Harvick out front here, and Rodney's echoed to him a couple of times, we are good on fuel. He did save a little bit when he was running behind Logano, but the Harvick car should be good to go to the end here.
Hey, Steve, I got a question for you, bud. So, earlier in the race, who had a tire problem late in the run?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I know they said it was a puncture, but we're trying to make a long run on this last set of tires. That 4 of Kevin Harvick had a right front flat in stage 1. That's the type of thing that could derail this effort. Vetcher behind the wheel, picking and choosing his spots.
Here comes second place, 22. Joey Logano to pit road.
That tells me he must have felt it run out of gas. I'm not sure Todd Gordon would just call him in with 4 laps to go. We'll have to get a report and see what they have to say.
That moves Hamlin up to second now. Marty.
Coming down pit road, they need 3 seconds of fuel. Again, Todd Gordon felt like they got enough fuel in it, but because he led so much of this early part of the run, they weren't going to make it to the end. And remember what we mentioned a moment ago. They had passed Kyle Busch for the regular season championship lead by gaining 14 stage points today. But by pitting here at the end, as long as the 18 makes it to the end, they're going to lose a lot of those regular season points.
And just a splash and go for Joey Logano. Coming up on now 2 laps to go for Kevin Harvick. Does he have enough fuel? His team says he does. We're going to have to find out. It's 4 miles away. There's the regular season points as they run. Logano now 17 points behind Kyle Busch.
What that has done with Joey Logano pitting is now Denny Hamlin is a second place car. He's 1.5 seconds back, but there are no guarantees with 2 laps. Momentum can be lost. Say the car does stumble. Maybe it has enough fuel, but maybe it stumbles just for a second. That's all it would take for Denny Hamlin to be to the rear bumper of the 4 of Kevin Harvick.
1.5 seconds separate 1 and 2. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
All right, Lambert, go hard, go hard.
Kevin Harvick's been driving since getting a go-kart for his kindergarten graduation. 43 years old now. People have asked, when are you going to retire? Well, his son, who now is 7 and also has a go-kart, said, Dad can't retire until I can race against him on the racetrack. Well, wife Delana has said, I'm not sure if I can handle that much more racing. Kevin Harvick, though, after a dominant 2018 and a slow start to 2019, does he have enough fuel to get all the way around? Coming out of turn 4. Kevin Harvick is going to hold him off. He wins in Michigan.
Nice job, fellas. Hell yeah, good job.
Got a lot of guys running out of gas on this last lap. The 1 car of Kurt Busch is out of gas on the back straightaway.
Blaney actually came down pit road.
Blaney came to pit road.
Yeah, that's changing the finishing order right there.
Buescher out of gas. The 3 of Austin Dillon out of gas.
Should have enough fuel to do a burn.
That moved the 6th up to about 12th place. So those cars running out of fuel was a big deal for Ryan Newman in that 6 car.
Kevin Harvick wins the Monster Energy Cup Series for the 2nd time in 2019. He just asked on the radio, do I have enough fuel to do a burnout? They'll check the lug nuts.
You guys.
Denny Hamlin gives him a little bump there.
You guys mentioned they had a rough lap. Chris Buescher lost some spots at the end. He ran 14th. Kurt Busch all the way back to 23rd. Ryan Blaney 24th. We knew it was going to be close on fuel for a lot of these cars. It absolutely was. The 2, we saw his pit stop. He ends up finishing 19th. So running order was quite a bit different at mile 398. And mile 400, Rick, we had a totally different order.
Yeah. 11th place finish for Ty Dillon. Awesome run for those guys today.
We didn't really talk a lot about Kyle Larson. He ends up 3rd.
Ryan Preece in 7th.
Yep.
Great
William Byron 8th.
A lot happened in that last lap.
Some able to save more fuel than others.
I mean, Suarez there in 5th. That puts him 6 points on the below. I mean, what a finish for that 41 points wise.
And after a dismal day for the 48 team, 12 points below 16th is where Jimmie Johnson finds himself. The team coming out to congratulate Kevin Harvick. This victory fueled by Sunoco. Fuel your best. He does get it fired up. And he's going to back up. He gets it fired up and decides to back up. Let's go to Marty. Catch up to him, Marty.
Well, what he's trying to do, Rick, I'll just tell you what he's trying to do and let him come here to the front stretch. You'll see Keelan Harvick kind of running up to the car. Remember that moment here last year where Keelan rode with Dad to the front stretch? Well, they want to recreate that moment. So Keelan literally running to the car right now. Kevin's going to take out the right side window, and Keelan is going to ride to the front stretch once again.
And remember the floorboard's hot.
Yeah, remind him.
Put your ears in the floorboards high.
There's some hot parts to this race car.
And don't tell Mom. Hopefully she's not watching.
This is cool because it is a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, he listens. Got the earplugs in. I like it.
Man,
What an experience, though. You think about it, a 7-year-old whose dad is such an amazing race car driver, a champion of the sports, gets this win, and now to be able to experience that with your dad.
That's just incredible family moment. Something that they will never, ever forget.
He'll ease his way off of pit road.
Crew Chief Rodney Childers, yeah. Greg Zipadelli, the competition director over there. Stewart Haas Racing.
Ears are plugged again for Keelan.
Now, if it ran out of gas, Keelan's going to be upset.
What a way to celebrate. And again, only the second win of 2019 for Kevin Harvick. Post-race coverage coming up next, followed by Victory Lap. That's the ability for fans to call in to be a part of Victory Lap. Premier Lacrosse League, Archers versus Atlas, will follow Victory Lap tonight on NBCSN. And when you look back on this race, I know that on Monday you guys during NASCAR America will talk about the turning point of the race. But Kevin Harvick and getting enough fuel, being in the right position on the final restart, put him in position to be able to run as hard as he wanted to take the lead away from Joey Logano, and now he still has enough fuel that he can do a burnout with Keelan. So Keelan has a tough decision to make. Dad told me to keep my ears or my fingers in my ears, but maybe I should hold on to something while we're doing a burnout.
Choices, man. Choices.
He makes it to victory lane, and listen to the crowd. High five from Keelan. Marty?
Rick, what a moment for the Harvick family. You Michigan fans got to enjoy that. How about that? Keelan getting the ride with Dad to the start-finish line. That was good as last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's way better than the burnout, isn't it?
That's way better than burnout. You know, I think the coolest thing is, you know, we've spent the last couple summers together. He wants to go get the flag.
Okay, we'll let him do that. He did that in the middle of the interview last year.
Yeah, he told me before the race, he's like, if I win today, I can get in the car again, right? I'm like, well, I guess so. So, yeah, it's got to thank all the fans. You guys have been great to us, you know, to come here with Mobile One and everybody from Ford and Hunt Brothers and Jimmie Johns and everybody who's helped us. Come on over, bud. I'm tired.
I'm not sure who they're cheering on more, you or Keelan, to go get the flag. What about it, fans?
Yeah, well, they should cheer for him. Just got to thank everybody from Fields and Haas. Who else we got to thank, Key? Hunt Brothers. Hunt Brothers. Mobile One. Jimmie Johns. Bush. Haas. Everybody at the shop. Everybody. Takes a lot of people to make these cars go around, and winning races is what it's all about. And just can't do it without all you guys. I mean, to come here to Michigan and win for Ford, and I know how much Mobile One likes to beat that shell car, so that makes it cool.
Keelan, how was the ride with Dad?
It was kind of scary at first, then I liked it.
And you liked it, but did you obey everything he said? Did you keep your fingers in your ear and all that?
Yep.
Was the burnout scary?
That's okay. We're going to do another one.
There you go. Kevin's going to promise another burnout for the fans and for Keelan. What a moment for this family, Rick.
Marty, pretty amazing. He's telling Keelan, put the flag down, put your fingers in your ears again. We're going to try this one more time. We'll do another burnout for the fans here.
You know, Rick, it amazes me. Jeff, you talk about how tough these cars are to drive. You showed it all day long, these guys fighting their cars. Kevin Harvick is in great shape, great physical shape, and he was exhausted. You know, it's the wide 2-mile racetrack. You would think it wouldn't be physically taxing, but you saw how tired he was. I think that just shows how difficult these cars are to drive.
We'll see if he does get to enjoy another burnout with Keelan. We mentioned Kevin Harvick's age. He's going to put the helmet on Keelan. That'll make it a little easier for him. Kevin Harvick at 43 years old. He's dabbled in television. He has done some work there. And so that has been why people have continued to ask him, do you think retirement is close? And Kevin has continued to say, as long as I'm competitive and I'm having fun, as you can obviously see, he's having fun right here.
People that want to see Kevin Harvick retire are the competition.
Well, it doesn't look like Kevin Harvick's going to be retiring anytime soon. Remember that turning point might have been when the right front tire went down, but he was able to get to pit road without incident. And so Kevin Harvick able to stay on the lead lap, able to come back and get his second win of 2019. Now Kevin Harvick with 3 wins here at Michigan. And Kevin Harvick claiming some more very valuable playoff points. Puts him even closer to potentially getting his second championship. Just 3 races away from the playoffs as he celebrates this Michigan win. As you look at the playoff standings, Kyle Busch, those 4 wins, still 29 playoff points, and now the advantage that he has over Joey Logano for the regular season championship, which could get him even more playoff points. He's trying to separate himself, but guys like Kevin Harvick not allowing it. The second win already. He has 14 playoff points, and what a shakeup down there from 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. Those guys trying still to make the playoffs. And Jeff, as we kind of soak this in and take in what we just saw, it ended up being another fuel mileage race, and ultimately Kevin Harvick played the game the best and had the most fuel at the end. He could go as hard as he wanted.
I think he had the fastest car also. I think he had good fuel mileage and the fastest car. But are we seeing the evolution of this Ford team? Right, think about last year. Joey Logano and his team, they got hot, just before the playoffs and into the playoffs and went on to win a championship. Are we seeing that happen right here with Kevin Harvick and this team? Didn't look so good early in the year, but now 2 wins in the last several races. Are we starting to see this team put all the pieces of the puzzle together to get themselves in position to be able to win a championship?
And big for manufacturers, Ford. The Blue Oval will be celebrating here, and it's got to be even more fun, I think, for guys like Kevin Harvick, who will now be in victory lane with Edsel Ford. I mean, you have Edsel Ford that's here at the race that was able to see that incredible win, and really, I think Ford put on a very good performance here, not only with Kevin.
Yeah, I walked by the Ford Motor Coach this morning, and I saw Jack Roush, I saw Roger Penske, I saw Gene Haas, I saw one of the several Ford vehicles down there. So this is a big race for them. Everybody there, a lot of the executive group is here at this racetrack. So winning here on this day means a great deal. And this is, hey man, Chevy versus Ford here, right? And if you can take this battle, it means a great deal to them.
Well, and you can't count out Toyota also. They have a R&D center that's in the Detroit area, actually Ann Arbor, and so they also have a presence here in Michigan. All right, let's bring in Junior and Steve. Guys, what about that one?
Well, it takes every part of a team to go to victory lane. I thought the 4 executed not just on pit road, but in planning. You don't get good fuel mileage like that by luck. It's something that Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick have obviously worked on. We heard at Pocono they thought they had great fuel mileage, and then in the end they had speed too. They had to pass all those Penske cars and pulled it off.
Yeah, I thought the 11 of Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., they were the class of the field at the start of the day. Didn't see Kevin Harvick sneaking up there and taking this away from everybody. But the other big winner today, Daniel Suarez.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I didn't think he had a shot at making the playoffs unless something freak happened. It happened today. The crazy stuff happened with the 48 having trouble, and then the 14 getting in the wall. Both those guys having bad points days has put Daniel Suarez right back in the middle of this conversation. So he's got to be ecstatic, not only with a great finish today, but an awesome points day to be able to give those guys the confidence that they can do this.
And this was a 2-mile track in Michigan. A half-mile high bank next week, Rick? There's no telling what could happen.
And remember, people are still thinking about what happened at Watkins Glen as you go to a short track like Bristol next. Well, momentum on the side of Kevin Harvick. It's time now for post-race coverage and the post-race show with Krista, Kyle, and DJ.